Yo, what's up? What's up? It's the late night What Rapid Combat Sports Network, right? Um, it is what it is, guys. I'm gonna talk about the Canelo plant shit, right? Um, basically, it is what it is. We know that the fight's happening this week, and it's gonna be on and cracking, right? It's gonna be on and cracking. This fight's gonna be wild, guys. It's gonna be a fight for the ages. It's gonna be a fight that we all expected. It's gonna be a fight that we all want to see, right? It's that week. It's that Canelo plant week, right? Um, the whole week's gonna be hype and shit. This man's gonna be a champion. This man's here to stay. Salute to the Don. Salute to the Don for picking the championship fight, right? The Don picks Zepeda, guys. We need to salute the Don, right? By the way, I got a guest host in here. We got a guest host who loves boxing, and he's gonna pick his favorite fighters, right? His favorite fighters is Caleb Plant. My favorite fighter is Caleb Plant. My favorite fighter is Tyson Fury. My favorite basketball player is Larry Bird, who's better than Michael Jordan. I also like Christian McCaffrey as the number one NFL player. The number one NFL player of all time is Christian McCaffrey. The number one basketball player of all time is Larry Bird. Caleb Plant is the greatest athlete of all time because he is an American, right? So there's that. My favorite track athlete of all time is also a white man, one of the greatest of all time. Salute to the Don for being in the building. As I was saying before, close the borders. Don't let any more Mexican boxers in. Get the Mexican boxers out of here. We need Caleb Plant to be number one. Caleb Plant all the way. Team USA all the way. Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant. Also, Tyson Fury, who is a white man, is number one heavyweight. He is my favorite heavyweight of all time. Period. That's how we're doing it. But in any case, salute to everybody coming through. Now let me take off this shenanigans. So I just did some shit, just playing around, guys. But this is what it is, right? Under Trump's world, he'd be probably cheering for. Yeah, the favorite cyclist is like the Don said, the favorite cyclist would be Armstrong and shit, right? It'd be Armstrong and shit. It's like the best NBA player in Trump's world would be Larry Bird, right? Forget Michael Jordan, Larry Bird's number one. And you know for sure Caleb Plant is getting backed by Trump. He's like, I'm going for Caleb Plant all the way and shit, right? But like I was saying earlier, man, salute to the Don, man. The Don went in on Zepeda. He's the one that said it. I gotta give him credit. Yeah, Mark McGuire for sure, bro. Mark McGuire for sure, bro. Period. Golf, hey. Yo, salute to J Blues Radio. Yeah, Michael Phelps. And golf, it's not Tiger Woods. Salute to J Blues Radio for coming through, guys. But like I said, it's that week, man. Yeah, bro. J Blues, salute, brother. It's that week. It's that Canelo fight week, man. It's the Canelo fight week. It's just one of those things where the hype's been so intense for so long, man. It's finally here. I'm getting it on pay-per-view. I'm not streaming it. I've had problems trying to stream shit recently, even on ESPN. Even on ESPN Plus and DAZN, man. That shit's just not working out right. Yeah, John Daly's actually the greatest golfer of all time. The greatest golfer of all time is John Daly, not Tiger Woods, keeping it real. But like I was said, man, I don't know if you guys have any issues with the DAZN app or if you guys are paying the Don. I know you pay for the DAZN app, but I've been having problems streaming that shit, obviously. I'm obviously paying for it, and I just don't like it, man. I'm going to have to, same thing. I'm glad that this shit's on pay-per-view, even the Canelo fight, that I get to see it without having to bother with the damn buffering and all this shit. Cable still does the work. I hate to say it. Cable still does the work. Yeah, man. You probably got better Wi-Fi than I do, man. I pay for the most expensive one too, man. So it's just freaking rip off, man. Mm. Like I said, quick breakdown of this fight. I already got Canelo by knockout. I didn't like what Caleb Plant was doing earlier in his training. I didn't like that he was training to bend to basically get in the pocket and bend low. You saw that? Did you see that? Did you see that? Yo, you saw that? Yo, Jay Blues, you saw that, bro? I had to end the stream. It was going wild, bro. It was going wild, man. It is what it is, man. People get wild out, man. So I can't, you know what I'm saying? I had to stop my stream because it was wilding out. But yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, man. It was wild, man. It was wild. That's what happens sometimes, though. Like, it's just all. Sometimes I have no issues with ESPN Plus or DAZN. ESPN Plus has been getting me too, the Don for reals. It might be it might be my devices or maybe I have too many devices going at one time. Bro, you're heavy, bro. Jay Blues is heavy. You heard some screaming and just went back to sleep. Too used to this streaming, I just went back to sleep. Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. Um, but yeah, man. The amount of pay-per-views. This is something that Don put me on, right? The Don put me on this game, right? Which I didn't realize, so he told me this on the panel, right? He said that a lot of the guys, especially a lot of the people who support Canelo on the what you call the old school guys, they're not on the internet. They're not out here streaming. They're the types to buy pay-per-views. So I expect a big number. I expect a real big number because the Don pointed out some real shit that a lot of the fan base for Canelo isn't out here on the internet, isn't out here caping. Um, they just go and buy the pay-per-view. They're used to the pay-per-view. They're off the internet in a sense, right? So this is like perfect for the fan base, right? Even the zone, even they won't even buy the zone, right? They're used to like cable and paying shit for cable, right? Or seeing shit on cable packages. I think he's 100% right with that. I think the Don's 100% right with that observation. It took him to make me realize that too. I thought it was like I figured it was the YouTube community was was something that was full of people who were basically anti Canelo is what I saw, right? There's a lot of pro Canelo, but you got to basically the biggest channels, realistically, let's keep it real, guys. Ones with 250,000, the ones with 100,000, the ones with 500,000, the ones that are going up there, right? Which is weird. Yeah, I think so, brother. I think so. For real, it's the Don. I think the numbers are gonna shock people, right? Because they're not used to like they'd rather even pay pay-per-view to watch it on TV than to watch it on the zone, right? They don't even know what the zone is, right? A lot of these old timers. It's what it is. And that's the fan base, right? That's the fan base is gonna end up watching it, just thinking about it. But like I was saying, I was oblivious to all this type of stuff of the Canelo hate or hate for certain fighters, right? I didn't really realize it till I saw that the bigger channels actually have this going, and they're getting the algorithm pushes them for having this type of thought, man. Like I don't want to name the channels, but you guys know they're 250,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. All these guys, a myriad of them. You guys know who they are. The ones that are out here, kind of racist, right? In a sense. Uh, it shocks me. It shocks me that there's not a pro somebody in the over 100,000 subscribers that has like a fair-minded view or even a pro-minded Canelo view, right? The reason Fight Hype started itself was because Floyd said, "I want to start a website that's just pro me," because he felt he was getting all kinds of hate, and that's why Fight Hype does what it does, and it promotes Floyd Mayweather, right? You're never gonna hear nothing negative about Floyd Mayweather on Fight Hype. That's literally his like a propaganda tool, right? The whole Fight Hype, the whole Fight Hype YouTube channel is his propaganda arm, right? So it's just weird that Canelo or some of these other fighters don't really have that. It's the opposite. The opposite. The hate feeds the subscriptions. The hate feeds the subscriptions for all these freelance, what we call YouTubers, right? YouTubers who are bloggers. I don't know what we call them, but we know what they are. They're out here just hating regardless of anything that happens, right? Uh,
And I'll tell you guys something else, right? I jumped into this like this whole YouTube thing, or this YouTube community thing and shit. And I noticed that the algorithm was feeding me these people, right? It was feeding me. It wasn't feeding me anything fair minded. It was feeding me people who have like the slanted bias, and which is surprising, right? Because supposedly tech tech companies are trying to stop racist shit, right, or racism and stuff. So it's pretty damn surprising that you get the algorithm, and the algorithm starts giving you certain channels that are like flat out kind of racist, right? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, though, guys. I don't like political correctness. I like people be able to express themselves, even if it's what's deemed hateful, right? As long as you hear the opposite side. But when these companies don't stick to the code, as they say, or the social justice type of shit going on, it just makes me wonder how weird it is, or what type of thing is really going on when they want people to be separated. They want hate. And in boxing is the only community that this happens, right? Like I wouldn't picture this happening in any other arena. Um, it's just in boxing, man, where you have divisions, you have sectors that are separated, you have people taking advantage of that, trying to get more views by utilizing separation tactics, right? And sometimes you can fall into that. How do you fall into that? You fall into that by maybe you hear someone talking about separation, or talking about the ethnic group you belong to, or someone who's similar to your skin color, and maybe you might feel forced to defend it, and next thing you know, you're getting into a fight, when in reality, you're just defending something because you're getting what's word triggered by someone's actions, right? Um, it's up to me is to be a world of just like we love the sport of boxing, right? But it's obviously turned into something else in YouTube. As my friend the Don said, they actually went after Don's channel just because he was exposing certain things. Or he well, what's crazy is this: the Don's channel went down because he was just doing what I said. He was doing something in a positive light, meaning promoting Canelo. And for him promoting Canelo, they took his channel down. Now it's weird. Why do they take your channel down for promoting Canelo? But on the opposite side, they don't take your channel down for having all kinds of hateful shit against Canelo, shit that's basically sounds kind of racist, right? I mean, this point, if you're judging Canelo's skills, you really can't judge nothing bad about it. I mean, he's all around fighter. I mean, PEDs. You've heard this channel say everybody's on PEDs, most likely, right? But the organizations that are testing him, they're saying he's clean. So that's what they're saying, right? That's what they're saying. So why would you be out here spewing other stuff that's saying that he's not clean, right? Um, but if we're gonna go to that, that's why I bring up PEDs, and you really can't trust. Even if you're tested, you really can't trust this to say if this one man's clean or another man's clean, because there's so many substances out there that are probably undetected. And I say probably because what I don't got the substance list right now, or I don't got any of that stuff, right? You got to do say probable or most likely, right? Because the evidence isn't in my hand directly, but you get my drift, right? I mean, a lot of the shit that Barry Bonds was taking was undetectable. The anti-Nello people kept flagging my exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy, Denon. That's crazy, man. It's crazy that they were flagging the Don just for promoting Canelo. And let me ask you something: is you promoting Canelo, meaning if you're promoting his fighting ability and your admiration for certain like tactics that he uses, is that hate? I don't understand how they can flag someone like the Don, who's not saying anything in regards to racial overtones. All he was talking about was the skills of Canelo, right? He was just talking like he's like the Don saying he's gonna make a new channel next year. Well, he was just talking about the skills of Canelo and how it's utilized to win, right? I also have some do videos on Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez, and the up and coming 135-pound stars. So it's just odd to me that they only take out certain channels, but these other ones that are basically making people angry can make someone do something disturbing, especially if someone's not mentally right. If someone's not mentally right, like, and they see a video of someone telling them all kinds of shit that sounds pretty damn racist, shit can pop off, right? Luckily, thank God, nothing has ever happened to any human being, as far as I know, in regards to news and stuff, of someone getting bothered by some type of like take on YouTube or something, right? In regards to boxing or some type of racist take or whatever, right? So at least that's never happened. The day that does happen, though, it's gonna be shitty for YouTube boxing because they clamp down on everything, man. So one thing I did notice about YouTube boxing, even though I'm talking shit about certain like channels that are kind of like pushing some race shit, at least it's not so censored that you can't do panels and just say random shit, right? Random shit, get your point across. Get your point across and participate. Yeah, they stopped him. They stopped him, Jay Blues. I don't know if you were subscribed to his previous channel, but he had a channel called Coco the Don, and he actually had real good content, videos, even editing. He did it pretty well, keeping it real. So they stopped him. Like I said, the double standard is crazy though. Like how are you gonna stop someone like the Don who's just basically posted a video about saying how great Canelo is? He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back. Um, it's just weird, man. It's just weird, bro. Like this world is full of unfairness, man. It's crazy. They say they're making the world fair, but it's really becoming more. It's becoming less fair in a sense. Um, and if you want my take on fairness, I don't think there'll ever be fairness on this planet. It's just humans are very humanity is very foul. It's very it's not capable of mean shit. Society's been around for a while, right? And all we see is war every 20 years. Even probably even less, right? You probably even less. You guys can look it up. You guys can go look at historical data. You see maybe every 10 years a war happens. And that's just in regards to the US, right? I'm just going into looking at the modern US history. Probably around every 7.5 years there's gonna a war cracks off with the US or does something, some confrontation with some country or something. And it's just a timeline that you can see. You guys can go look it up yourself, right? So that's just from the US point of view. Imagine other parts of the world. We're not even thinking of some of the wars they're doing. So humanity itself is just it's never gonna be like all roses and daisies. That's why it always amazes me when people say they can fix boxing. They can fix boxing, they say, but they can't even fix society, and they're never gonna fix society, right? That's why I just know that boxing is foul, and it's gonna be foul. We just gotta live with the judges and the controversies and see what we see in our own eyes, right? Judge it for ourselves. Salute to David Salas, who's in the building. We need to judge it for ourselves because it's never gonna be fair. I hate, and another thing, maybe I'm too being pessimistic on here. I hate when people say, let's fix this. Let's fix boxing forever. You're not going to fix boxing forever. You're not going to fix any sport. Every time they try fixing a sport like the NFL, basketball, they make it worse because they put more rules and regulations. But usually the rules and regulations can be twisted to be crooked, right? Um, the CTE shit's going to take down boxing. You'll see it. You'll see it maybe in 5, 6 years. The more regulations that happen, the more concern they have for your safety, the worse it turns out being in every case, right? Maybe who knows? And at one point, maybe in 5, 6 years, they won't even let people drive a car under the pretext or under the notion that humans are foul and maybe you crash. So maybe why not just have automated cars all over the place that are more perfect, right? That are 99, they'll say 99.9 probability of no car accidents, right? As the Don saying, 8 for Castaño, never forget. They denied him then exactly, and that's the type of shit we deal with, right? How many of those have we seen this year? How many like how many sketchy cars have we seen this year? I mean, we saw one yesterday in the top rank card. Yeah, it's the sensitive era we live in, man. For real, it's the sensitive era we live in. Um, it's the all the who gets offended more era, right? You get rewarded for being more offended this in this era. If I'm more offended than you, then I start winning, right? So we start playing the game of who's more offended. And the one that's more offended usually starts winning in this society. Now, and before it used to be a victimless society where people would stand up on their 2 feet, pull up their straps, and start going at it, right? Their bootstraps, as I would say, right? Not the other type of straps. Um, but yeah, that's what it is, man. It's a society. But the thing is, boxing does have something that a lot of these other sports don't have. Boxing has the ability that you can end the fight with no doubt about it. What do I mean by that? You can knock somebody out and finish a fight, where you can't, you will not, it will not be left to the judges. And that's the only sport other than probably even UFC, but even UFC maybe sometimes can be controversial with the way they stop it. But it's basically the only sport where you can basically determine the outcome yourself. You can determine your own destiny, right? That's why we like. But I think that's why a lot of us like boxing because yeah, the scorecards are what it is. We saw Castano get robbed, as the Don probably was saying. Um, but we know that if you push the if you want 100% finite solution, or you want to know that you won, you can go in there and knock the man out. Again, it's hard because everybody doesn't have knockout power. Salute to Sergeant. Salute to Sergeant for being in the chat. The generals in here. So you can have knockout power and all this stuff, or some guys don't have knockout power. But we know that in boxing, at least there's that chance that you can 100% no doubt know the man won a fight. Other sports, it's all about officials. It's all about other shit. It's all about like, does the ref call this? Does the ref call that? Is the penalty for this? Is there instant replay? Back in the day, bullies in school kept the balance. Now it's free. Yeah, now you can't bully nobody. And I don't agree with bullying. But think about this: we're so soft in this society. We're becoming so soft in this society, guys. We're becoming so soft in this society that there's a term called cyberbullying, right? Um, I told one of my nephews, right? Or actually, my nephew told me something interesting, right? He told me that someone was getting cyberbullied. Somebody he knew was cyberbullying him, cyberbullying one of his friends, right? And to me, I was like, cyberbullying? What the fuck? You know, I'm like, what's going on with cyberbullying? What is this shit, right? What are we talking about here, right? I was thinking like, this is some soft shit, right? So then I told him, what do you do? Yeah, exactly. So I told him, what do you do? I told him, what did I tell you to do if someone tries bullying you in school or something like that? If someone hits you, you hit them back, right? I told him, yeah. He says, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna tell my friend to hit the guy to. I'm gonna tell my friend the same thing. I said, what are you gonna tell him? I'm said, so if someone tries cyberbullying you, on the internet, I told my nephew, what are you gonna do? And he said, I'm gonna cyberbully him back. I said, yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So basically, you coined the term cyberbullying back, right? Like it's like that's the world. That's the world we live in. Don't let yourself get handled no type of way. Someone cyberbullying you, cyberbullying them back, right? Similar to now, I just say, hey, Sergeant, maybe I'm from the old school, but I told him cyberbullying them back, brother. Cyberbullying them back. You know what I'm saying? Um, why not cyberbullying them back, right? Why not? Tell me that's not some hell of advice I got going there. I coined the term. I told my nephew I'm gonna make sure to say cyberbullying him back, right? That's how you stop cyberbullying and shit, right? Um, by the way, guys, I don't know if you guys saw the stream earlier, but check this, guys. Check this out, guys. Check this out, guys. This is the top 5. Yeah, salute, guys. Hey, by the way, you guys giving out any candies or any of that shit on trick or treat, or do you guys see any trick or treaters? Do you guys notice the difference in this era of trick or treaters from our era, or from the era of even 10 years ago? Back in the day, I remember I used to see kids on bikes trick or treating. Now it's so PC, man. Guys are rolling up. Parents are taking. Look at again. I'm not throwing shade. Because I know how it is. The convenience. But now it's become such a thing that parents are not even letting their kids walk. They're rolling up in cars, going house to house in the car, and telling their kid to go trick or treating. Whatever happened to going in the neighborhoods and just walking to get your candy, right? Wasn't that the whole point of it? Wasn't that the whole point of trick or treating, that you get to run around at night and shit, or you know what I'm saying, to get candies? And now it's becoming so staged that, again, I don't want to judge anybody because maybe there's parents in the chat who've done this, right? The convenience, I understand that, right? But back in the day, they just let you loose, right? Go trick or treat as much as you want, wherever the hell you want, right? That type of shit, right? But now I guess we see the dangers of society, or there's always front page news, right? Of kids getting abducted and all this shit, right? Which, I mean, no one wants nothing to happen to their child, right? So I guess people are scared. Yeah, that's the point. Jay Blue's radio is saying truth right there. I used to get lost on Halloween, and matter of fact, the only thing you had to watch for back in the day for Halloween was the teenage kids coming and try like taking your candy from on the bike, right? You'd You're walking around, and then all of a sudden all of a sudden some kid who's out here just living wild. You're right here, 10 years old, and then the kid's like comes on his like dino and just takes your fucking candies, right? Or tries to take your candies. So bag snatching, bag snatching. Yeah, whatever happened to egging houses, guys? Again, whatever happened to egging houses, guys? That shit used to be something, right? I mean, shit. Egging houses, not some other weird shit. Yeah, find your way back. Find your way back. No GPS, no nothing. Just get your ass out of there and start going for candies, right? Get your ass and motherfucker and if you remember back in the day, candies. I think now candies is less inflated, right? Like to where like people just give you a handful of candies, or maybe it's our generation and we just like fuck it. Here's a handful of candies. Back in the day, you go and the motherfucker would be like tight with it, right? He says get one. You like trying to trick or treat, and the guy would be like, yeah, egging people. Do you remember that, guys? You start egging houses and shit. You're like, this is Halloween, time to start throwing eggs at houses, right? Just like start doing things that are wild, right? Using the silly spray, all this type of shit, right? Then you walk into a crib. You walk into a crib and you always had that one guy in the neighborhood who like rigs his whole house into like a haunted house, and he's out here looking like a werewolf, and you don't know if he's like a fucking creepy motherfucker or if he's actually likes Halloween. So you're like, I'm not even gonna go in there because this guy might be like a fucking like a pedophile or some shit. I don't even know if he really likes Halloween or he's out here trying to do some pedophilia shit, right? So it's always weird things like that. I mean, you guys probably have them in your neighborhood now. The guy who rigs up the whole house, right? Rigs up the whole house as a haunted house, and you're like, this is kind of weird. Yeah, so it's what it is, man. Back in the day, Halloween was the shit. Keeping it real. Now it's probably on some other stuff. Tell me you guys, tell me you guys never egged some houses or egged your friends' house. You're like, what time's the fight? It's on Saturday. It's probably at 7 p.m. Mustafa. Yusef Mustafa, you're gonna watch that fight, brother? It's probably at around 7 p.m. It's the biggest fight of the year. There's nothing else. There's really nothing else we want to see on that fight, man. The undercard's is not good at all. Yeah, you're gonna dig it, bro. I salute you. I salute Yusef Mustafa, who is an MMA UFC guy, guys. Jay Blues is a UFC guy too, Yusef. So yeah, man. See yo Mustafa, put in the chat, brother. Is Canelo, obviously you told me about Tyson Fury. Is Canelo one of the only ones that guys who just watch MMA, they'll see that fight, they'll stream it or pay to see it, right? I think Canelo's probably one of the only ones. Similar to the guys who just love boxing. The guys who some guys who just love boxing, they'll pay to see a fighter like Conor McGregor, and that's about it, right? Because they know him and they know how he is, right? They know his like mainstream status. I think Canelo's that for the yeah, brother. Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. My bad. I had another friend. I had another friend, Mustafa, brother, was from Florida. I had another friend, Mustafa, was from Florida, my brother. I'm in the UK, so I have to be up. Hey, salute to the UK, man. Yeah, man. Tyson Fury's doing it big, man. Tyson Fury's doing it big. I rate him as the #1 heavyweight. I mean, a lot of people have a debate with the Usyk, but to me, he's the #1 just because he's a super heavyweight, right? Because he's a super heavyweight, man. Yeah, what did you think about about Leon Edwards? Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, his name was Mustafa, brother. He was on the panel, brother. He had Mustafa. His name was Mustafa, brother. So yeah, that's why I probably confused. He's from Florida, man. My friend Mustafa from Florida. He jumped on a panel. We talked some MMA, brother. Yeah, man. So it is what it is, guys. But like I said, Halloween. Let me go back on the Halloween trip, right? It's different, man. It's just like weird, man. Like the people rolling up in cars. Yeah, Leon Edwards was next up for sure. People rolling up in cars. They're not allowing kids just go do what they're gonna do, right? They're not allowing kids just go and do what they want to do. Just let them out the car, let them run wild. Just let them out the front door, basically, right? I noticed that this is society. They don't let the kids out the front door no more, right? Um, back in the day, man, I used to be out all night, bro. Maybe even till 11, right? Maybe even till 11. So it is what it is. You know you're done trick or treating You know you were done trick or treating back in the day when when you wouldn't see any kids left in the streets, and you say, "Well, it's time to pack it in," right? But when you saw the lights turning off in the cribs, you know what I'm saying? You go to a house and the light was off. You're like, "Damn, that's again." I brought up the term egging, right? That's when you carried the eggs. You'd be like, "Damn, these fools aren't opening. Egg this house, right? Where's my damn Snickers bar? Egg this house, right? Where's my damn Reese's Pieces? Egg this house." Again, that's just mischievous. That's just what kids do. Yeah, I don't know, bro. That's a close one. That's a close one. Mustafa, that's gonna be a close one, but it's a great battle with Covington. It's a great battle, brother. It's a great battle. Um, but yeah, man, I do cover MMA, by the way, Mustafa. I do cover MMA. I cover box. It's combat sports, but right now we're on the boxing trip because guess what? Canelo's fighting Plant, man. Um, where do you rate? Where do you rate him versus Billy Joe Saunders? I'd like to know that, Mustafa. You know what I'm saying? Um, Kamaru Usman wants to fight Canelo, guys. I'll tell you what, he won't look good. That'd be a hell of a matchup publicity, but I think Canelo will knock out Kamaru Usman real quick. Less time than he did Ildrim. Yeah, he's pretty damn untouchable. Yeah, the thing about Covington is his wrestling. I think he's a great pressure wrestling. I want to see if he can tear down Usman, man. That's just a great matchup. You know what's crazy though? Dana White gave no shits, guys. Dana White, the owner of the UFC, said, "You know what, Canelo? I'm gonna fucking do you dirty. I don't care if your pay-per-view is on the same day as mine. I'm gonna do a pay-per-view, and I'm gonna put Usman and I'm gonna put Covington to go up against you, and I'm gonna just screw your ass over." So anybody who has any spare money and you're a combat sport fan, you can either double up, pay for both of the pay-per-views, or have to choose one. So if I had to choose one, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm watching the Canelo fight. I'm watching the Canelo fight. Um, I have kids, and seriously, people these days are more sexually and pedophilia. I don't want my kids going the same way. Facts, brother. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Plus, in the news, salute to David Salas for bringing out an excellent point. In the news, you're hearing it every day, right? It seems like it's more rampant. It seems like almost. I'm gonna go to David Salas' point in this case. It seems that if you almost leave your kid out there, he's basically like one out of a. He's basically he sticks out because none of the other kids are out there, right? Back in the day, there was many kids out there doing trick or treating. Now, if you just saw one kid right there, he'd probably be an anomaly. If he's trick or treating right there with his friend by himself, right? Yeah, brother, for reals. I agree with you. I didn't say that was bad though. I didn't say it was. I didn't say there wasn't reasons behind it though, David. But it's just a different world now, brother. Yeah, Dana has a great card for that day. Justin Gaethje. I think Justin will kill. Yeah, I got Justin Gaethje, man. Who do you got, Youssef? I got Justin Gaethje beating Chandler. Uh, but David Salas brought up an excellent point, man. That's just it's very crazy, man. Yeah, hey, yo, David Salas breaking some shit down, brother. I seen Zach Parker talking mad shit. Youssef, Mustafa, tell us about Zach Parker, man. I saw him. I know he fights for BT Sports. He fights for BT Sports, I think, right? And Frank Warren. Sarge, yo, man, David knows his shit. David knows his shit for reals, man. Yeah, man, this it's I got Justin too, man. I like Justin's style. I like his leg kicks. I like his come forward action. I like that he's a wrestler, but he chooses to use his wrestler in a defensive manner. What do I mean by this? He doesn't choose to use it as in a double leg takedowns. He chooses to use it more in a sprawl to keep it up on the feet, right? That's what I like about Justin Gaethje because yo, I like wrestling as much as anybody else, but shit, man, in the UFC I want to see punches. Yeah, I've started hearing about him, but he's a UK boy. Now he'll fight another beatable op in intergalactic UFC. Yeah, hey, yo, Jay Blues, you're real, bro. Jay Blues is real because the UFC card, like my friend right here, subscribe to Funk or Die Boxing 510. My friend right here, Funk or Die Boxing, did a whole stream and he actually broke down each card. And the UFC card, in my opinion, is rated higher. But I'm just going with Canelo in the parade, man, because I ain't never seen that, right? And obviously, recently, I've been on the Canelo thing, right? I've been on the Canelo thing, man. I gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see the undisputed. I gotta see this shit, man. Go through, man. But let me tell you something, bro. Let me let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something, guys. Um, I would say 99% of people are picking, like anybody with the brain right now, right, is picking basically Canelo, right, to win, right? The favorite, he's a minus 1,000 favorite, guys. Like this shit, even Vegas is like, man, I can't even bet 1,000, I'll get 100 back. Like that's not even worth it, right? That's how much of a favorite he is, right? So most people with the brain are picking Canelo to win or to do something. It's outrageous, right? It's outrageous. Think about, I don't think there's ever been an undisputed fight where the man is favored by this much to be undisputed, right? Um, so it's a coronation, like I said. It's basically a coronation. That's why I see kind of Jay Blue's radio point in regards to the card. I said it myself on my friend Funk or Die Boxing 510's stream. I said that if I just had to rate the cards card per card, I mean shit, the UFC card is way above it, right? You got Rose, Doug Namajunas fighting, you got Chandler, you got Gaethje, you got obviously Usman and Covington, right? So that shit is just fire compared to this crap that we got, the undercard. Salute to Chicano Prophet. Subscribe to Chicano Prophet, guys. Subscribe to Sergeant. Crawford and Dango. I remember that. That was a shitty. In Dango, what happened to him, right? It tells you everything about Top Rank. It tells you everything about Top Rank, guys. It tells you everything about Top Rank, guys, for reals. Uh, I can't think of a worse undisputed fight than that. But Ndongo was even worse than, I mean, at least Caleb Plant. I think Ndongo had about 2-3 losses and shit. Keeping it real, from what I remember. I'm not gonna pull up box rec right now because I'm right here on some shit, right? But for everybody new who's coming in right now, I got a question for you guys. You guys heard this. Everybody who was in here in this chat already heard this shit, right? But I'm talking about bullying and how to handle bullying, right? In respects to cyberbullying, right? Like I said, I gave my nephew the advice, right? He talked about bullying first time. I told him, bullies, you know what you do to someone who bullies you? If someone hits you, you hit them back right away, right? And then he said, well, someone's cyberbullying my friend, right? What should I tell him to do? And what did I tell him? Like I said, cyberbully him back. So my whole thing is, if someone cyberbully you, cyberbully him back. That's what I told my nephew, right? Now, that's how bullies should be treated, right? So I don't care if this is the world of cyberspace, right? The whole term cyberbullying is kind of funny in itself, right? And back in the day, you had to deal with people really bullying you with physical force. It's just crazy that now we're in the cyberbullying age and shit, right? The cyberbullying age. Um, Chicano Prophet, I'm already like 1,000% convinced it's a coronation. Like some of the training I see from Caleb Plant, some of the methods he's using is over, man. Yeah, gotta develop a Patrice O'Neal and start roasting fools. Facts. Many mills Mexican bots with the this man has a lot of knowledge, man, but I'm not gonna tell you the type of knowledge this guy has. Send me an email. Shit's crazy. Shit's crazy, man. Yeah, Patrice O'Neal roasting guys. You gotta have it in this era. That's why I tell my nephew, hey, if someone's roasting you on the internet, roast his ass back. This is what it is. The undercard is a shot at Canelo via eight. Yeah, that's what I said too. I don't think you think Canelo really had all this shit. I think Canelo really had all this power. I don't think he had power to get these undercard. Like, why would he put this guy? What's his name, brother? I'm forgetting his name. Like, I'm so down on undercard, I'm forgetting names of the guys, right? Why would he put the guy who just lost at Top Rank? Um, he was very highly held, and he lost at Top Rank, and now he's fighting on the undercard for Canelo, man. I don't even think Canelo knows him, but he's on there, bro. Why would you have him on the undercard? Why would you have the dog Darrell? I know the dog Darrell is a dog, literally, right? He's a beast. Facts to Mexican Mill, Mini Mill. I'm saying. Um, I know the dog's a beast, but shit, do we want to see this guy as an undercard pay per view? Like I said, I want to see Charlo. I want to see Tank Davis. I want to see any of these guys. I want to see Pitbull Cruz. I want to see all these guys on the card. least have him knocking somebody the hell out. Elvis Rodriguez is the like what's his name brought it up right away. Elvis Rodriguez just lost, man. He's on the card. Come on. I'm surprised more top contenders don't want to be on Canelo's undercard. I think I think what it was is that they didn't offer him anybody. They didn't offer anybody shit. That's what it had to be. Maybe they didn't have enough money after they gave Canelo all the money, right? Maybe after they gave Canelo all the money, they didn't have enough money to offer any of the guys. But again, which how do you do that? You tell them you're gonna get promoted. We're gonna put someone like, all right, I'll get one of the Charlos and I'll have him the guy. I'll have a guy that it's easy to knock out, right? Give him a guy that's easy to knock out. Um, I'll have hell even Tank Davis. Tank, we're gonna put you on this Canelo card for exposure. We're gonna get you a bum to knock out, and it's what it is. That's all we want. We just want you to have a stay busy, knocking the fuck guy out fight, right? Simple as that. That's all we want. Uh, that's how it should be, man. That's how it should be, right? That's how it should be. Yeah, Elvis Rodriguez, bro. It's just not cool, man. Yeah, Elvis wasn't really doing work, man. And I was high on Elvis. I don't know if it was his training or what, but I was high on Elvis, man. I really thought he was gonna be a monster, but he didn't look good. I don't know if it's hype or what, man, or just maybe something you don't wake up at all your faculties. It's one of those bad nights. But it's funny how some of the elite boxers, it's hard for them to have a bad night, right? They always peak. They always peak at the right time. They're never bad night, right? Like Canelo's bad night's usually a good night, right? Some of these elite boxers, Floyd Mayweather has obviously too, right? Like the guy's bad night. Castillo, when he fought against Jose Luis Castillo, part one, it was a Chicano Prophets in the building. It was a great night. Let's crack it, Chicano Prophet. That was
What's
Halloween.
that? Hey man, it was good, low key. Just but it was cool, man. Good people watching. You know what I mean?
hmm Is it the same? Is it the same as your childhood, or is it different in regards to the way people roll around in cars instead of letting the kids just run wild in a sense?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely changed. Yeah, back in the day, if you were old enough and you had a good group with you, you could go out and do your thing.
hmm Yeah, back in the day, dude. Back in the day, I hate to say it, it's gonna sound funny, but dudes was even doing out there wilding at 16, 17. And those are the guys that would steal your candy. They're the ones that they line up like four of them and they just start trying to steal people's candies and shit. We know that happened, bro. This time I
Oh
think
yeah.
we can't do none of that shit, bro. Like it's not even kids aren't even out there by themselves. Like it's just different, bro. It's just
Oh yeah, dude. I had a friend who would I forget what the term was, but he would go to the same house twice in a row, trying to.
yeah,
He would blend in with like these other kids, and he was like 15, be like, "Oh hey, let's go to
yeah,
this one,"
yeah.
and then a couple people
There's always
popped up.
those. There's always those, or I'm gonna hit you guys with another one. Now that I see something, I'm gonna tell you guys. If you guys tell me if you guys see this trend, when the kid rolls up two parents deep, so he's two parents deep, and each parent has a bag. So you're out here handing out a handful of candies to even the parents. Does that happen to you guys?
I haven't seen that. I think that's kind of sad if that's the truth.
Yeah, it happens. And what am I gonna say? Like, no, you fucking here's the candy. Then get the fuck out of. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, here it is. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be a jerk about it, right? Because obviously some of these people come dressed to the teak too, right? Like, maybe I should put my foot down. Maybe I should make a fucking live stream of that. I should have made a live stream. What rapid kicks out fucking scavenger ass parents who want to fucking trick or treat too, or some shit like that, right? So weird shit. Like that. But yeah, man, it's just wild. Oh, are you excited for the Canelo Caleb Plant shit cracking off already? It's already this week, bro.
Yeah, dude. You know what? It's high time because, dude, there's some people out there trying to act like Caleb Plant has this chance, even though like any real content creator like would never actually pick Plant. Nobody's actually picking him who actually has like any type of like online reputation. It's only like the trolls that are saying like, oh, watch out for Plant. Like, I mean, we need to get real.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Only the trolls or someone who just like who really hates like real Mexicans, like Mexicans, not necessarily Mexican Americans, but Mexicans from the other border, right? Like
Oh yeah, no, I heard there's some of
Plant,
that.
yeah, Plant, Plant will knock out Canelo. Larry Bird's the greatest of all time. Simple as that. So
Dude, yes,
that
I have
type
to
of fucking
say,
take,
um,
that
I,
type
I
of take,
I agree with you. I haven't wanted to speak on it, but yes, I know what you're getting at, and I agree with you.
yeah. So like I was saying, guys, it's just I mean, the odds in Vegas, obviously, Chicano Prof is the first one to put me on because I hadn't even looked at him. And remember on the stream, you showed me that, brother. It's crazy, bro. Like, you can't even make no money off of this. Maybe knockout, but I haven't seen the odds on that. Nobody with their right mind will do a straight up bet with you with Canelo versus Plant no more either, bro. So it's just like, it's just something to see for fun. No money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not worth the risk. $1,000, putting $1,000 on Canelo to get 100. I mean, we don't know, right? Crookedness exists, so I wouldn't even do that. So basically, I'm just gonna have to have fun watching it. I usually like get more fun by betting on shit. And are you betting on any fights here coming up soon either, or no? Or Bud Crawford, Porter, any of this shit?
I had like a very big parlay going with like some obvious wins, including like Xander Zayas, Bud
Uh-huh.
Crawford, Canelo. So besides that, though, I'm not touching it because you're right, dude. Like the odds are just too wide. Like, dude, if you wanted to make some money, you believed in Caleb Plant. Like, okay, first off, I don't know how you could possibly think that Caleb Plant has any chance to knock out Canelo Alvarez. Like, that's just not going to happen. But they actually have single round prop bets for like Plant KOs. Like, we're talking like I want to say it's like 25-1 on your money or some shit like that. Like that's you could make it if you put down, a couple hundred, you were right.
Shit. You gotta have a lot of faith in that. I don't even care. Like, even $10, I'm not here tripping. Even $10 on Caleb Plant, I'd be tripping, man.
No, I mean it's not worth it. Like nobody's actually picking him, and it's like but I like that Caleb Plant's there to win. But here's the other thing, dude. He's a one-handed fighter, man. Did you watch the second episode of All Access?
Saw the whole thing. I saw I'm gonna bring up some triggering things, guys, right now, and you guys tell me if I'm off base here. Chicano Prophet brought it up, but I said this on the stream, but you guys probably didn't see it because I do a lot of long-winded shit. Um, so the thing that shocked me the most out of that whole thing, brother, out of the whole like Canelo Plant All Access, was when I saw that his girlfriend was beating him and running. I was like, your girlfriend was a track, what do you call it, was on track scholarship at UNLV, right? But I don't give a shit if she's that. No way in hell she should be beating a fucking professional athlete boxer who runs fucking boxing. You run a lot. You shouldn't be beating them. And another thing is this: she shouldn't be your main training partner that motivates you. Like, that kind of like weirded me the hell out, bro. I know love is love, bro. I know that the marriage is spectacular. Salute to Caleb Pam for having a great marriage and family. But literally, the person pushing you on a track or motivating you should not be a woman, in my opinion. And maybe I'm sounds weird, but I'm just saying that. I don't know if you noticed that.
I agree, man. He's gonna go to war soon, and he should have men around him, I think. But I mean, there's a whole lot of things he'd have to change to even have a chance against Canelo. Like, there's just some natural things I'm looking at. Okay, like for instance, in that All Access, bro, did you notice how like when they were showing Plant do like some shadow boxing work, and his trainer was saying something like, "Oh, hey, that I use that left hand jab more. That's great because it sets up the other two things we're gonna do, right? Because he couldn't say right because the dude doesn't have a right hand, like. But usually your front hand, sets up your cross. You know what I'm saying? 1-2. But the guy doesn't have a number two. Like it's. I think it might be weaker than like Oscar De La Hoya's right hand. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah, you're right, brother. And a lot of people don't notice that. It's almost he hesitates even, right? He almost has it like a. You ever seen? Again, I'm gonna say something. I don't want to trigger anybody, but you ever seen those guys who have like a one hand that's kind of cerebral palsy? That's kind of like a shrunken hand. That's what I've pictured Caleb Plant when he started. It's almost like he always is hesitant to let the hand go, bro. It's almost like a weird thing he got going, bro. Like a cerebral palsy type of hand or something like that in regards to that, brother. So you're one of the first ones that I've actually seen point that out. Um, I have thought of it myself, but I never pointed out. Like you said, he's afraid that it's like even De La Hoya had a better hand in him in that sense.
Oh yeah, dude. When you see him hit the bag like hard for when he's working out, dude. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like strong hand, strong left hand, and then like just a tap with the right. Like he can't throw it. Like I think he's protecting it already. Like, and I know one-handed fighter is going to stand a chance against Canelo. Like it's just obvious to me. And on top of that, I think Billy Joe is better with his lead hand than Plant is with his. I mean, although it's close, but I mean, honestly, like just legitimately, I just don't see this being a problem. Like I just think about it like in a few different ways, and then that's all I need to know. Like Plant doesn't have a chance, and other people are right when they break down the fight. But you don't have to get there. There's a lot of things you could see right away where you're saying it doesn't even make sense to assess this fight further based on what I've considered first. You know what I mean?
That's 100% right. And something else, right? Which I don't know if you noticed in the whole thing, right? Obviously, the methods that go, the ways I fly here, right? I noticed this. You don't think that someone who wants to be in a what do you call it, elevation chamber, who's taking the time to be uncomfortable in an elevation chamber, zipping that shit up, being in there for who knows how long, right? Which is uncomfortable. It's highly uncomfortable. Why would you waste your time doing that, right? Why would somebody who has that mentality not have the same mentality to do chemical warfare?
Chemical
Like
warfare in like what sense? What do you mean?
PEDs. So if you're taking your time, if you're going to the levels of I'm gonna sit in this freaking elevation chamber, zip this shit up on my ass, do whatever it takes in a sense, because he's basically saying I'll do whatever it takes to get in peak physical condition to be Canelo. Now I can just say the next step was why wouldn't you do that chemical in the chemical warfare stance? I'm saying like
You mean
I don't see
PEDs?
yeah, I don't see fucking Canelo jumping in a fucking hyperbolic chamber or one of these chambers, elevation chambers. You just see him running and doing things like that, right? He's not out here trying to do what I would say in quotations, whatever it takes. And by whatever it takes, I'm saying PEDs. He's basically showing a personality that, again, this is an allegation, obviously. He has the personality that says he does whatever it takes to win. Um, that's what I mean. I always look iffy. Like a lot of guys who have popped in the past, like Terrell Owens and all these other guys, those are the guys you see jumping in those chambers, and those are the guys you see popping for shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just leave it at that.
Interesting.
That's another one, guys. That's another one, right? So, um, anybody who takes the time to feel uncomfortable like that for benefits, was it harder to do that, or to just take something or get injected in the ass with something? I mean, you guys can put two and two together, guys. That's something I noticed. Obviously, Larry Wade, obviously, is strength and conditioning coach, is another guy, but I mean, is what it is. Um, but that aspect of the fight on fight night is going to be something I want to see. I want to see how he comes in, how physically, because a lot of people around him, you probably saw the Showtime in the ring interview. They're like, well, Caleb Plant, you're the strongest ever. This is the strongest I've ever seen you. Um, hope he shows up. I hope he doesn't come up with some COVID shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. You know, he's gonna go and do it. Like, if you're gonna take the loss to Canelo. He's gonna pay you 10 million, dude. This guy's hit the jackpot.
Hmm.
Better to lose to Canelo than somebody else, and you never get paid that much.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Check out Profit. I just brought up something, and I think we've all just like no one's brought it up. What are the odds he even shows up? What are the odds? And I wonder if they did it in a contract where it say you got to show up. Like, get the fuck out of here with all this other shit. Show up, and make this fight. What are the odds he tests positive for some bullshit and all of a sudden this shit is fucking stunning?
I mean, dude, the only way I could see that, bro, and you know, I'm in the conspiracy vein. Like, the only way I could see that is if, like, perhaps like this fight wasn't selling well and they needed to like shut it down. But there's too much money to be made, and I think Plant, he knows, even though fucking Canelo has offered him the fight previously in the past. Like, I think, you know, Plant might have this idea like this might come around just this one time, you know. And on top of that, the opportunity to become undisputed, like it's Plant's highest legacy fight,
Uh-huh.
also highest profile fight, and highest paid fight. So,
Yeah,
you know, it would be the smartest thing for him just to fucking do his duty, take the L, because that's what's going to happen.
yeah. I wonder if that would be part of the if he has to fight. You know what I'm saying? What if it's not part of in the contract? What if it's just something like if he tests for positive for COVID, it's not his fault. He's gonna say some shit like that, right? And another thing, I would be like yourself. You kind of mentioned it in a sense a little bit. If I'm Canelo, I'm not fighting this motherfucker if he doesn't show up again. If he doesn't show up on this fight, I'm not playing this game because he's been doing this game for about a year and a half, right? Because if we remember, Canelo offered him first, right? Because he's like, this motherfucker's the easiest victim here, so let me get him first, and then we'll go to the other guys. And he's been the one delaying the fight. So if some shit does come up, I tell Canelo don't even fight this motherfucker no more. He's not about it. It's something off.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he never wanted the business in the first place. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's just a foregone conclusion. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
somebody who's over here capping because I do like Canelo, but I mean, just objectively speaking, this shouldn't be a problem.
Exactly right. Objectively speaking, we shouldn't have to worry a fucking. It's basically what a year and 3 months for this guy specifically. It's not, and I'm not naming other guys because the other guys were accepting fights and going through. Like Billy Joe Saunders was getting shit, but he was taking the fight. Callum Smith was getting shit, but he's taking the fight. Even Yildirim, who got knocked out silly, he was taking the fight. But the guy that the main target denied it multiple times. I think it was 3 or 4 times they already denied it. So if some shit happens like on Thursday or Friday where it'll say, oh, Caleb Plant tested. tested positive, it's just like, bro, I'm sick with it. I'm sick of that. I'm done with that. I'm done with Caleb Plant, and I hope he doesn't get no payday. Um, that's just my view on it, man. Or how anything could happen. Who knows? Maybe in Canelo pops, right? So there's all kinds of shit that gets involved in this type of stuff, man.
Bro, I bet you when there's this much money involved, like there's way to correct any type of positive test. Like I'm sure there's some like disclosure type clauses, you know, because I mean,
Yeah.
okay, dude, if you're asymptomatic and you're not showing any symptoms, then and there's no symptoms then, right? If there's no symptoms, then why can't you fight?
Yeah, I've thought about that in the past too. I've always wondered, obviously, because I have a very curious mind. I've always wondered how many fights have they just gone with, even though the guy's ace tested positive. They say, you know what, let's just put this under the rug and let's let it roll.
Hey man, it happens all the time, dude. Like Robert Garcia was interviewed once, and he says, "Hey, this idea of a fighter being sick, like I've experienced it many times, where the fighter's sick on the day, but no, dude, like you guys have put months into it. Some people don't have, especially at the lower levels, don't have the benefit to be able to afford just a bunch of training camps, So it's like, well, you go up whether and I also believe that fighters don't go into the ring necessarily 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another thing. Weird thing you brought up something that's some interesting shit, brother. Like, at what point do we start treating this like you said, right? Like, think about this. We'll talk about history. It might not be boxing. It's just like, you remember the famous Jordan flu game?
Yes, I do.
Now imagine if someone has asymptomatic. They're not like Jordan, right? They're losing all his like power. Think about how crazy this is, right? Think about the logic of this. There's a guy who literally is not like Jordan, losing all his like energy because the flu's so hitting him, but they don't allow him to box. But the Jordan flu game, it wouldn't exist in this era because they'd say, wait, maybe he's has something else.
Oh, exactly, dude. And nobody just tests positive for the flu anymore. Anybody who tests positive for COVID. You know what I mean?
So we can say, like, this is just some shit. We can say that all this like playing under pressure, playing under sickness is done then, bro. Like, Jordan flu game. Um, we should erase it from history. Maybe he was gonna kill people for playing like that. Who knows, right? So it's
I
just
know,
weird.
dude.
It's just weird now that we think. You helped me bring it up because you made me think about this when you said that there's aces asymptomatic guys. So I thought about that. It's crazy. You're right, brother. Like, why do we even stop in fights? Now you're saying something that's pretty damn amazing. When guys are fighting sick, people go to work sick. At least that's the way it used to be. You know what I'm saying? You go to work sick and you're like, fuck it, I'm here. Like, I'm not gonna waste my sick leave on this shit. Like, I'd rather be sick and miserable in front of all these people and not on my vacation, right? So
Exactly, bro.
yeah, it's just weird, bro. It's just weird society. It's what it is, guys. But yeah, if they're asymptomatic and they're looking clear, like, I would just roll with the fight. If I was a promoter, I'd hide everything under the rug. I'd say nothing's happening here. Take a B test and a rigged B test, especially if there's nothing involved. Um, I really hope that this fight happens though, because I've been waiting like this, and the anxiousness is just to get this over with. And by the way, this is probably like the last big thing, right? I mean, it's Bud Crawford versus Porter. It's a big like, it's a big like what would I call it? Like, hardcore boxing fan thing, but realistically, it's not gonna. A lot of people aren't gonna see it, right?
You're right. This is kind of a big fight. I mean, just generally speaking, Canelo's an extremely marquee name. He is the cash cow. Some people think the biggest cash cow, but I mean, certainly in America, So this is kind of like a big fight. It does actually have some history to it. I think as a hardcore fan, you have to appreciate that he's going undisputed at 168, the first to do it at that weight class, first Latino in the four belt era to go
Mhm.
undisputed. So I mean, there is some history being made. And Canelo's done a lot of work in a very short amount of time, and I'm enjoying this run.
Yeah. Like David Sass saying, Canelo versus Plant is a good fight, but Benavidez versus Uzcategui will be more. Yeah, Uzcategui tested David. Uzcategui tested positive, man. So they kind of clipped him for. He tested for something that I was talking uh about 2 3 months ago. People weren't taking seriously the EPO, right? It's just rampant. EPO is rampant in boxing. I guess they get Uzcategui because he was training out of Tijuana, so they say, well, your EPO ain't that good, so we're gonna stop you from fighting David Benavidez. But American EPO is gold. I'll say that, right? Lance Armstrong literally won multiple Tours de France under EPO. Never caught, never caught or anything. The only thing that caught Lance Armstrong was his teammates snitching on him. So that's how they had that thing so damn rigged. And it's also the thing about this, even the Balco shit, bro. The reason they caught a lot of these guys because what it take was Canseco snitching. They weren't catching them on the test. So it's what it is. The U.S. athletes, they never get caught on the test. They always get caught by someone either snitching or someone. What's that word called? When what's that shit called? When someone, like, whistleblower, right? That type of shit.
Yeah. Well, dude, look what they did to Bonds, man. It's like they pretty much knew he was cheating, even though they couldn't never like pop him for it, and it was enough to make them retire him. You know?
Yeah, they never even really caught him, right? They never even caught
Yeah,
Bonds
he,
on
he
some.
never tested positive for anything, as far as I recall.
And yet the media again, they go hard like he did something, and then they don't do it the opposite way, right? They don't do it the opposite. What do I mean by that? Like, they go over here and talk to Canelo like he's taking, like, literally you can go look it up on Google. You can do your own research. I'm talking about these journalists, and they keep on asking about clenbuterol, but then they don't go ask Caleb Plant about his associations with a guy who literally was selling performance enhancers, and some of them were undetectable. They never ask him one question about that. Like, at least ask you don't have to say, "Hey, Caleb Plant, are you taking PEDs?" All you need to say is, "Hey, how do you feel being associated with someone who's taking undetectable drugs, and does that make you a target because we might think that you're nefarious in using undetectable drugs or drugs that are not listed on the ban list with BADA?" I never heard that question one time. All I heard was, "Wow, he's big, he's flexing, he's a fucking, like, a freak." I was like, what am I hearing here? What am I hearing here, man? But again, I'm the only one saying, probably one of the only ones saying this shit.
No, man. I mean, I think it's a good point. Like Canelo, he gets all kinds of crap. Like and to be honest, dude, it was a while ago, but people are still asking him about the clenbuterol all the time. Like, dude, I see so many like other fighters that are protected. Like the media protects them, doesn't ask them any hard questions at all ever. You know, and it's like, and I think it's because these dudes can choose to cut off people. Like Canelo never doesn't have like a hey, don't ask this, but it's just getting old. Like I feel like it just gets brought up all the time. It's in the past. It's over with. Like people like that's one of the things they go to when they can't find a way to hate on Canelo because he's been so successful. They're like, oh, but he cheated. You know, it's just a fucking little go to. Kind of like how they pull out the Mayweather fight. You know, when they
Yeah,
feel like it did,
yeah,
which is
that too.
fine. You know, which is fine. But I mean, like that's also, dude. That was like 8 years ago. Like I guess we could talk about that, but what other fight do we talk about like 8 years ago all the time like that? Just bring it up.
Yeah, I'll go into something else. Do I talk about LeBron James getting whipped by, like, Iverson when in, like, 2004? Do I talk about LeBron James getting whipped by Kobe Bryant in fucking 2005? Do I talk about LeBron James losing the finals to Tim Duncan? Like, how come that only happens to certain guys, right? Like, we don't talk about Michael Jordan getting beat by the Pistons and by Isaiah Thomas, who we're saying Isaiah Thomas is better than them because he beat him in Eastern Conference Finals multiple times. Notice that? But because they know Michael Jordan was a young man when he lost to the Pistons and Isaiah Thomas, right? Same thing with Canelo, right? They can't correlate the same thing that Canelo, like, literally he was a young man, and when you lose a young man doesn't mean you can't improve, right? And every other sport is like that though. In every other sport they'll be like, wait a minute, you can have film, like, literally, guys, let's keep it real. Larry Bird whipped up on Michael Jordan multiple times. But are we right here, or are historians saying, hey, you know what? Larry Bird officially whipped up on Michael Jordan multiple times, so therefore he's better than Michael Jordan. No, that doesn't happen. Because they know that the time when Larry Bird was playing Michael Jordan, he was older and he was more mature. He was basically in his prime, and Michael Jordan was just coming out of North Carolina 2 to 3 years. So this is the weird thing that happens in boxing.
Yeah, man, it happens. But I do think that Canelo did fight him at the right time. It was a good timing, and I think you have to take a fight like that. That's the thing. Like a lot of these dudes, they don't take risks early, and it's like, dude, especially when I hear these boxers like fighting since they were 7 or whatever, like Berlanga, and it's like, why aren't you further developed? Like, a person's a prime athlete or a starting quarterback for a potentially Super Bowl winning team at 24. You know?
Yeah, that now, like you said, right? A lot of these guys are developing faster. But you know what I think it is sometimes too? Sometimes they get brain frozen, like brain freeze. Like, sometimes when you're just going through the motions, you tend not to learn. It takes you a while to even learn something. I don't know if that's ever happened in your life. Like, you just, like, can do something, you do it so repetitive that you don't even care about learning anything new. You just know that it's something that you do naturally, so you don't put the effort into learning. But then when you get to a certain age, you're like, wait a minute, something snaps in your brain. You're like, man, I actually should have done this, and I actually see everything clearly. I see some athletes that can do it at at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like Canelo's that guy who does it at the moment. He's not gonna be one of these guys who all of a sudden the light shines on him when it's 38 and he's like, damn it, I should have done that. Now I can comprehend what that was happening at the time, right? That's why these special athletes like him and Mayweather and fighters like that, they basically at the moment they find out everything and they put their knowledge to the basically to the ring, man. It's hard to find that.
You're right, man. And it's a very underrated aspect of Canelo's overall game. What he
Yeah.
does is very impressive, and and I joke around when I go, but I'm also being serious. It's like, okay, well, when I say, oh, Canelo's the greatest fighter of this generation, well, if you think past like the Mayweather Pacquiao era, like we're running out of time. Actually, the new generation's already kind of here. Like there's this gap. Like the 24-year-olds. I think that's a generation after Canelo. But I think like who else could you compare for this era? Who would have been the greatest coming out of this era? Like I mean, some people say Fury, but I don't know, dude. When there's somebody who's been in one weight class their entire career and haven't gone undisputed or have a weak resume, then I think, okay, well, I mean, how great is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And I don't see any young fighter, and I hate to say it, I don't see any young fighter who can get that torch passed to them. I don't see anybody consistent. I don't see anybody. Look it. Let's keep it real, man. Canelo didn't have all these championships at that age, but he was active at that age. He was active before he fought Mayweather, and after he fought Mayweather, he was active too. He wasn't getting a chance to fight for all these belts, but he had certain belts, so he was a champion. I don't see any young fighter out here with the same type of vigor, um, doing the same thing. Like, I mean, who can you put in that type of vein?
Have you considered Teofimo? What are your thoughts on Teofimo about this?
I like Teofimo. He's a great fighter, but look at the activity.
Terrible. He's too young to be this inactive.
Yeah, that's the point. That's what I'm saying exactly. Like I would have brought Teofimo up too, right? But it's like you got to be more active than this, man. You got to. That's my point. Like literally, somehow, like without realizing it, Teofimo is very gifted as a champion, but he's almost giving someone a chance. Someone can creep out of the woodwork who's 21, 22 right now, 23, and take everything from everybody right now because people aren't active, and these guys that we think are what it is, sometimes the comic fizzles early. Sometimes the comet, what we see as something coming that turns into huge or something that's going to create a whole crater in the world, it fizzles out before it does what it needed to do, right? Um, I mean, even Ryan has a chance, keeping it real, for all the grief he gets, man. He still has a chance if they put some shit in him. Devin Haney, I don't know. I have to see him with guys, but a lot of guys, you can name a lot. Like even someone like Brandon Lee, who people are sleeping on, right? I mean, Brandon Lee, shit, give him enough activity, and he might start doing something. So there's a lot of guys out there, bro. That's why I said I really can't name one guy. I would say Teofimo has the accolades, right? But the activity needs to really pick up, man. And in those heavyweight divisions, I can't name one like a welterweight. Oh, I got one. I got one for you, Chicano Prophet. Virgil Ortiz.
Dude, I think Virgil Ortiz really. I think he's at the right age to possibly, and especially too because we were talking about this, like when these old guys, like another perfect example, like how can Errol Spence be older than Canelo and has never even had more than 2 belts at welterweight, even though he's been there his whole career? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like these guys have been waiting forever, but I think it's possible, and I know this sounds weird, but that Spence and Crawford might end up fighting each other to kind of tie each other up because otherwise you don't want to lose to one of these young guns like Virgil Ortiz or Boots Ennis. And I think it's possible, dude, that these guys could contend with them. Like I don't think it's as crazy as some people think.
I definitely think Virgil can contend with any of these guys. I just love the work ethic. I coined the term back in the day we used to use called train like a madman, right? And the ones I see training like a madman, being consistent in the gym. I'll give credit to Teofimo too. I see the guy in the gym all the time, right? And he's not active, but he's in the gym, and he reminds me of the work ethic that Virgil has, the work ethic that Teofimo has, and the work ethic that Canelo has. I see that shit actively. Like I literally saw Teofimo, which was surprising. When he had like a ankle issue, he was still in the gym doing pull-ups and shit like that. It was freaking crazy. I was like, that's the way you should be. You should be like Canelo, always in the gym, regardless. Even if you're injured, you can be in the gym seeing something or learning. That's why the criticism for Ryan Garcia, I understood it. I understood what Canelo was trying to say for that, right? So the work ethic is there, but just what I say is and Virgil, I think he would fight 5 times, but that's some golden boy shit going on right there. That's some golden boy shit keeping him like keeping him on the shelf and not keeping him as active, like 3 fights a year or stuff like that, right? But Virgil to me is one of those guys that's like he has the work ethic, he has to train like a madman, he has the style, um, and he loves boxing. So he's ready. He just needs a belt. He needs a belt to verify everything.
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll see. Because, dude, I'm high on Virgil Ortiz too. I agree with everything you said. I'd like him to be a little more slick, but I don't think that would prevent him from necessarily winning these fights. But I think he has the ability to learn how to be slick. Like it might all come with education. Like I want to see how his boy, he's so good at what he does that I haven't really seen his ring IQ be tested yet because what he's doing is just working so well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's well, let's talk about that in the 147. Do we see any young slick 147 pounders or 147 or even 154 pounders? I don't see young slick guys at those weight divisions at this moment. It's not like the era of Canelo when he had the fucking fight off Trout. He had the fight off Lara at 154. He had the fight off even Cotto can be slick. Even though even though he was an action packed fighter, he was pretty damn slick, keeping it real at times. Notice in this era you don't see that shit. Maybe that's just my observation. You tell me if I'm observing things right.
No, dude, I think you're right. Like even no, dude, you're right. And it's something that can be learned. I think a fighter's got to have a good sense of rhythm,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that I've never really. And I don't know how you feel necessarily about the whole Robert Garcia camp in general, but like that's one of the things I've never liked about the Garcia camp. Like I feel like his fighters lack rhythm, and that's
Mhm.
part of slickness in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Like when I see Virgil going, that's the one criticism I have of him, that he seems like he's too he doesn't have the timing, he doesn't have the pace, he doesn't have the rhythm. He tends to like just be heavy metal all day every day. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
Like
I know exactly
enter
what
the
you mean.
Sandman. Yeah, enter the Sandman 24/7. Like even with Cav Velasquez, he looked rushed. He looked rushed even though he was doing work.
That's what I'm saying. He needs to relax, and
Yeah.
just not have like that heavy metal thing, like no pacing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but we'll see. Like I said, it's working for him. I mean, I might have to. I hope he doesn't get that like knocked out of him. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I think he's promising. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a loss and then possibly changes gyms. It
Mhm.
might take a loss because I mean, because Robert Garcia, he'll just tell you, oh, just keep pushing your head forward. Like don't pay the
Mhm.
other guy any respect. I hear him say that in Spanish all the time to people who he think can handle that style of just come forward, like Rios,
Mhm.
like Ramirez, and he's doing it with Ortiz, even though he didn't do it for baby brother Mikey, but that's a whole different story. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I think he's going to be the future as long as he's continuing to grow and can show that he can develop a ring IQ because he's got power and he's got aggression and I think he's got good footwork. But there are levels to this. So we'll see how great he could be. Like I think he's got potential, but I also think Teofimo's got potential. But like outside of the activity, like I think he's at the right age where he could possibly come into 140 when it's kind of empty, take
Mhm.
over, and you could kind of maybe time it into welterweight too. Not that that's the best thing, but sometimes people do come into professional boxing and start what they're doing at an ideal age where it's like, wow, look what Canelo's done by 31. He
Yup.
kind of came in at the right age.
My second question on Teofimo's is, like I said, everybody knows I rock Teofimo. Teofimo is one of the is probably the young best fighter right now. But I got a question about this, and you've heard me I think you've heard me say this before, right? We've never heard. Let's keep it real. We've never heard no one leak anything that Canelo has a suspect chin or getting knocked out in sparring. And believe me, if someone did do it, someone would be bragging about it because it's Canelo Alvarez. And this is true since he was young. Okay. But we do hear various accounts of Teofimo having suspect gut, suspect chin. Obviously with Rayo Valenzuela, even some other guys, right, saying it. You guys know the usual corporates. They say that like even Devin says that he did something. So my point is this: I have to see Teofimo's chin tested by a puncher to see if that's a real. If he has that, he has everything and he needs to. If he has that chin, he has everything necessary to be the guy that we think he can be. But that's something I haven't seen tested.
Interesting, man. Well, we'll see, dude. I want to see these guys get in the ring, dude. Like, I hope we
Mhm.
get this Cambosos fight out of the way. I think we've been waiting way too long for a fight that was never even that big of a deal in the first place. And I want to see him take a big fight next. Like, I'd be okay with Haney, Loma rematch, or Josh Taylor. Like, all three of those, to me, would be acceptable and fun to watch.
Yeah, that'd be acceptable. And I'm gonna speak to something else, guys. Berlanga, Berlanga, right? Um, he got supposedly dropped in. Well, he's not supposedly. You guys saw the videos, right? He got dropped in sparring by the man from Haiti, right? What's his name? What's the man's name?
Man, I know the video you're talking about, but
Yeah,
dude, I forget as well. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with
yeah,
names sometimes. Plus, I'm stoned.
yeah, yeah. We both know. We both know what we're talking about, right? But he got dropped in sparring, right? So people chalk that up as it's sparring, right? Like that's just sparring. Like this never happened, right? Um, but then again, it goes in the ring, and what happens with the guy that he has trouble with? He got put down, right? So that's my whole thing with Teofimo. Like literally, they're saying, and it's I think it's valid. Ryo basically put him down in sparring. Um, like I said, I've never seen any of these elite. Did we ever hear anything of Mayweather getting put down in sparring? Never once. And by the way, if someone did put him down in sparring, they'd be bragging all over the internet about it. Even Pacquiao, right? Even Pacquiao. Think about this. We saw Pacquiao get put down by Marquez and shit. But literally, the man Freddie Roach had best where he says if you put down Pacquiao in sparring, you get a bonus, and it never happened.
That's
So
right,
that
dude.
and these are the elite, and these are the elites. I'm saying I'm talking about the elite guys. You never hear none of the sparring shit. Even Julio Cesar Chavez, you never heard, hey, I knocked out. And by the way, guys would be saying this. Mike Tyson the same way. If they did Mike Tyson dirty in sparring, best believe that shit would have been a headline, and best believe someone would be saying it all the time. And I'm naming all the elite guys is what I'm saying. So that's why I'm think about the Teofimo the chin thing, and I want to see if he can pass the test, because that's the number one thing that can show you from, because you need a chin, brother. Am I right, Chicon Prophet? Like literally, that's what you need as an elite. Mayweather had a chin. Canelo had a chin. Hell, Triple G we considered him elite. He had a chin. Mike Tyson, for all the shit we give him, the man had a chin, man. He was still trying to get up when Buster Douglas put him up. He was still trying to get up like a fucking man, right? Um,
Yes, he
so it is what
was.
it is. Yeah.
Dude, you know
Um.
what? You're right. It's such an advantage to have a good chin. Uh,
Mhm.
and Canelo's got a, like you said, it's got a good chin. Like I'm also curious about Teofimo's chin. Like I'll tell you what, dude. Like when Loma was pushing the gas in the later rounds, like I didn't necessarily like how when Loma would come on the inside, I felt like Teofimo wasn't actively digging and fighting back, and I also didn't like the way he was reacting to the punches. Although I think he did prove himself in the 12th. Like I just felt like his inside fighting and his tenacity in there to dominate in the inside fight game. It needs to be developed more. He's got some holes still.
Mhm. Yeah, you know what too. If he reminds me of, he reminds me of Roy Jones Jr. The way it's all of an outside power attack, all outside power attack. Roy Jones was similar in the same manner. You never saw him being inside. Everything was coming like from outside. Wham! You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden he'd catch you off guard. Wham! All from the outside, man. All from the outside. So you're right. I've never seen Teofimo implement inside game, a body work from the inside. He could have done it versus the man Nakatani, right? Which Lomachenko did that, right? So that's pretty interesting. That's another bro. Thank you for pointing that out. You're right. I've thought about that in the past too.
Yeah, but I like what I see. But that's why I say, like, sometimes I still need to assess things. When some people, like, I can't believe people are crowning Shakur Stevenson because I say, oh, dude, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
him take real punches yet. Not really.
Yeah, you're right. And another thing, let's ask this question, right? And we'll just a little controversy on this shit, right? You guys can tell me in the chat controversial thing, right? Um, what if we just changed Shakur to Teofimo and gave Shakur the same fight versus Lomachenko, and theoretically, Lomachenko will say, I could see fucking Shakur outboxing Lomachenko in the same manner, right? Even I respect Lomachenko; he's a great fighter, right? But I'm just saying, and he was undisputed. If we just
Ah,
if they just change it up and they said basically he just changed it up and he somehow become undisputed, because guess what? There was no knockout versus Lomachenko, so it was basically outboxed and outjabbed.
hey, I mean that's a good point. I mean, so you think Shakur would beat Loma?
I kind of think he would, because Teofimo showed me the style that, and I could see Shakur emulating the style. Um, the power punching didn't come into effect in that fight. The power punching did not come to effect in that fight.
In
You
which
tell me
fight?
if I'm
The
wrong.
Teofimo
In the
Loma?
it didn't come into effect. I never saw Lomachenko like what happened to him versus Linares. Even Nate Campbell landed some fucking vicious power punches to Lomachenko. All right, I never saw him at one time like get hit with something that looked like I'm going down.
Interesting. So you think maybe his power is a little peaked at the elite level then possibly, or
No, that's this weight. It's if you want to just ask me straight up, I think it's the weight drain. I think his natural. If I was Teofimo's camp, I'm putting him at 147. Fuck all this 140 shit. Stop playing games here. Uh, let's go straight to 147. And he cannot. Well, let's look at Canelo in the similar fashion, right? Canelo, his power wasn't all there when he was in those lower weight divisions. He had a lot of power, but his muscle was totally like depleted. Like now you see Canelo 168 with full glycogen in the muscle, with the power necessary, right? Sargent has Loma KOing Shakur. Sargent has Loma KOing Shakur. It could happen. It could happen. Hey, Sargent, I'm just raising scenarios here, because guess what? Shakur's the same age as Teofimo now. I've even said this, and you guys can tell me if I'm getting very what's that shit called? If I'm just talking too many theories, right? Do you think Ryan Garcia would be a champion already if he was on Top Rank?
I mean, I don't. Well, I mean, assuming that he was in there with Lomachenko and the people that were over there in Teofimo, like Ryan Garcia, probably not. That's my opinion. I think he's got a skill, but I need to see
I'll
more from
say
him too.
I'll say it. Chicano Prophet, he would be because they would place all the fights that they were that Teofimo got. They would say, who am I gonna market here? All right, I'm gonna place I'm gonna place Ryan Garcia in all the premier fights, and I'll give him Comey. And matter of fact, I think Ryan Garcia might be able to knock out Comey and be the IBF champion.
I would agree with that. Like if they were to fight even before the Campbell fight, like and
Mhm.
also Ryan Garcia does have talent. Don't get me wrong. I would
and
agree
and
with you
also
on that
top
one.
rank, who would they push? So if I had Ryan Garcia, and this is before Teofimo became the superstar we know, because obviously when he beat Lomachenko was a superstar now, right? But if I just have right here Ryan Garcia with 5 million followers, I'm gonna start matchmaking this guy to be the champion. If it's Ryan Garcia, and any of these other guys, I'm gonna have him, which we already thought, right, that they're pushing him as the golden boy. So they would try pushing this guy to championship status real fast.
I mean, if they believe the talent was there.
Hmm. Which I think they would have, right? Because it's what it is. I mean, matchmakers at Top Rank are a hell of a thing. I'll tell you that. Josh Taylor, under 19 fights, champion, right? Shakur Stevenson, how many fights does he have? He was a champion with 15 fights, right? Um,
Good
all
points.
these guys, the top rank machine is, if you're in there, you're gonna get it. Like another guy, Devin Haney. If he would have been in there, who knows if they would have said, wait, we kind of like Devin Haney more. We're gonna put you in the matchups that we want. So there's a lot that goes into this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this. Even with Oscar Valdez, a lot of people claim that there's favoritism. So that's why Oscar Valdez is a WBC champion. Some would say that, hey, maybe Shakur Stevenson could be that if they were liking them more and setting them up like that, right? I don't agree with that, but I can see why people say that, because Top Rank has the best matchmakers, and they have access to the 130, 135, and 140 bouts. They always have and always will. Like Sargent mentioned earlier, Crawford undisputed versus a guy named Ndango.
Right, that was bull. Like nobody cared about that fight.
No, but that's Top Rank though. That's Top Rank for you, brother. They got the man undisputed against a man named Ndango.
Shit, man. Well, hey, dude, this guy named Chocolate Bacon says, I don't mean to change the subject. Is it cool if I just touch on something that you talked on earlier? Yeah, right there. That's the one. It's like a Teofimo is the same size as Canelo, maybe bigger. And that's the thing, dude. These dudes look eye to eye, and it's like you could tell Teofimo is a big dude. And I think you're right. There's something to that weight train. Because I'll tell you this, bro. Like I thought he looked fucking dry before weighing in. I remember thinking, like, God damn, like this dude's
Yeah,
dehydrated.
brother, you got the eye. Thank you for that's what I meant by the power. I'm not saying that Teofimo does not. I just think that's not his weight class. I think his weight class is in the heavier weights, and even 147, he might still look a little drained. And like I said, like if Teofimo fights if Teofimo would fight the Lomachenko at his full capacity, meaning if he wasn't weight drained, I mean, it'd be a totally different story. You think he'd even be punching with this guy? Like, you literally got Teofimo in there looking like a concentration camp guy. You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
Yeah, although he did feel in pretty good. Like you could tell he's definitely the big dude in the ring, which you won't be able to do so much necessarily. Well, I don't know. I mean, then again, Canelo's shorter than a lot of his opponents. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. If you were to listen to Teofimo Senior, he thinks that this guy's gonna go up to like fucking like over middleweight and shit the way he's talking.
Yeah, Teofimo Senior is hilarious, man. He's very. It's what it is. I mean, that's what you want a father to be like, though, in a sense, right? But yeah, I'm basically just seeing things in a different manner, and I know that Top Rank has the ability. Whoever they pick is they're gonna push, man. Like that's the reason you hear the outrage versus Oscar Valdez because people feel like Top Rank chose him, and that's why he's there because they matched him up. They didn't
Speaking,
give they didn't give Oscar Valdez. They didn't give Shakur Stevenson Burchell. That's one of the complaints I hear, right? And now supposedly he might make that fight.
dude, I've heard that too. I mean, we'll see what Aram does, but if people are losing their mind about this idea of like attorney style, but I was just saying, like back in the day, bro, like sometimes you would put people on the same card or have them fight like on similar like weekends so that you could
Mm-hmm.
get excited for a fight down the line. Like they did that with Cotto and Margarito, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, dude, back then we were getting fights that we wanted all the time. Like we don't get as many good quality fights as often. Like it's funny how everybody talks about undisputed now, but like it wasn't a concern back then. But I felt like we were getting the fights that we wanted. The only ones that we really didn't get, we had to wait on, were like the Mayweather Pacquiao. Otherwise, dude, if you think about it, like the longest we waited for Triple G Canelo was 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very long compared to fucking what we've been waiting. Look at Crawford and Spence. Look how long we've been waiting. Oh, we've been like, I think it's like 3 years now or some bullshit.
Yeah, that's
And,
true.
and those guys have never had their first great rival. Like Canelo's been fighting like he fought Mayweather, he fought Trout, he fought Laura. Like he's had boogeymen before historically.
Yeah, that's true. He's had and southpaws, right? Like, don't they tell you in boxing, like, well, I'll go on this. How many southpaws did Earl Spence fought? Yeah, he fought one guy. The guy was from like Africa, Emmanuel something, and the guy almost put Earl Spence away. He almost knocked him out, right? And this was like one of his earlier fights, right? And you never saw him match with a southpaw ever since.
Oh,
But you got
really? That's
Canelo.
interesting.
Yeah, think about this. That was my whole interest of the Spence versus Pacquiao. I wanted to see how he could handle the southpaw because the long time I saw him handle the southpaw, he looked ridiculous. He got basically shook. He looked rattled. He was almost knocked out. He was doing the Devin Haney walk. Um, so you never saw him face another southpaw. But we got Canelo right here facing southpaws. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like a champion, usually a champion, you don't put him in. Since he is Canelo, why would I be putting him in with dangerous southpaws? You know what I'm saying? Unless he knows how
Right.
to deal with them. I mean, look what he did to Billy Joe Saunders. That's spectacular. That's why I give that performance. It's a spectacular A performance because it's not only slick, he's a southpaw.
Yes, like I told people, like, Billy Joe's got like, as far as like what gives Canelo problems, like ideally the best person suited for that stylistically was Billy Joe Saunders, slick
Mm-hmm.
southpaw. And you know what? Like he's pretty accomplished if you look at him, like, compared to what other people are doing. Like he's a
Mm-hmm.
2 division defending champion, like undefeated. Like, and I don't, none of his fights are close. And he fought John Ryder, he fought Eubank Jr. I think, like he's got some wins that are
Mm-hmm.
notable. Like, he wasn't a bad one. Like I said, like I thought Billy Joe Saunders was a tougher challenge. I said that ahead of time. If he gets past Billy Joe Saunders, then after that it's downhill. Like Plant will be an easier fight.
Yep. Yo, I'm gonna talk to Jay Blues right here because he's 100% right. I don't mean to be sounding like Lomachenko is just a shit fest, right? I'm just bringing up like theoretical things that I don't know. I have to see them face off, but I could see Lomachenko exposing. I really don't know Shakur Stevens is like I'm just judging it by the style the style Shakur has and what people are perceiving and what they're telling, which might be a pile of bullshit. What you're saying, he has the Floyd Mayweather style, or he's beating up certain guys in sparring, right? Bigger guys, right? Like allegedly beating up some of these welterweights, right? So that's what I'm saying, right? Like literally, I really don't know. I could see like it wouldn't shock me if Lomachenko did that to him because Lomachenko's style is totally different, right? But that's what I mean. Like most of the boxing community, they have Shakur Stevenson like he's like almost on some, which is not fair either because David Benavidez is a fucking beast and he's going in there knocking guys out. But they have him on some David Benavidez shit now. You notice that they have him like on some like an underground like a legend that no one wants to face or some shit like that, or just some weird shit, even though it's not true with Shakur.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like all of a sudden, like there's this huge hype. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Part of me thinks it had something to do with the fact that Wilders took a massive loss. They're kind of,
Mhm.
what I'm
Mhm.
getting at. It's like
I
they
know what you're
need.
getting at, brother.
Yeah, and that's, but you know what? I think Shakur's a very talented young man. He's
Mhm.
got a lot of stuff that he's got going well for him. Like I said, I just need to see about his power. I just
Uh-huh.
need to see about his ability to take a punch, and then also like he's got good footwork. But I mean, everybody's made it sound like he has outstanding footwork. I would say it's very good, but like I want to see how he could box consistently being pushed back, and I don't think we've really seen that. Like he
Right.
can move around when he wants to, but he's never been the one to have to respond to pressure.
Yep. And I think the main point I was trying to get across, guys, was not about I was bringing up some of these like things that can happen. The main point I was trying to say is the person who has top rank, the matchmakers, depending on who they want to push, trust me, they can make a champion because these guys are all pretty elite. And if you just match them up properly, you can get what you want. Like I said, all we need to do is look at Crawford's elite, right? But how are you gonna get an undisputed versus Ndangu, whatever this guy is? That's just like, bro, it's like a birthday gift. You know what I'm saying? Like it only happens at top rank. It only happens at top rank where that shit
That's the
happens.
thing, dude. Like, we were all watching the 140-pound division, and then all of a sudden Crawford was going undisputed. We're like, who the fuck's he? Who are these dudes? You know, like,
Exactly. Go in
and
profit. That's exactly, brother.
that's what I'm saying. But like, to me, I do see like what's going on at 116. I think I did know these guys ahead of time. I
Me
thought those
too.
guys were actually decent, and
Yeah.
a while ago, bro, there were people like I have a video of this dude who said like if you go back and watch his old videos, he'd say stuff like, "Oh, Canelo wants no parts at 168," right? This was like
Yeah.
before like the Kovalev fight, so it's like he's literally about to be undisputed. The only thing people could say if they wanted to be haters, like, "Oh, well, he hasn't fought Benavidez," but my thing is like Canelo said what his intentions were. So I'm sure, Plant wouldn't want to fight Benavidez, but somebody else could have gotten that area, like Charlo. Nobody maneuvered to try to get ahead of what Canelo was doing. He laid out his game plan. He said, I'm going to go undisputed at 168. It's not like Canelo can move when he wants to move. Who's David Benavidez? You know what I'm saying?
got a,
Like,
I got a piece of history you're just mentioning right now, right? And I guarantee you, maybe I'm gonna have to look this up, but you guys are all boxing guys. You guys are all know things, right? You guys all know things. Now let's see if you guys can help me because I don't want to have to look it up and talk about this shit another day, right? How many guys have undisputed? How many guys have undisputed belts? Maybe one I can think of right now, right? How many guys have undisputed belts, and every belt they took was from an undefeated fighter?
exactly.
Exactly right. What we just mentioned, Crawford beating up a guy with multiple losses. Josh Taylor is the other guy that I thought of, but I'm not sure if anybody. I know Jose Ramirez was undefeated. I know
I think Prograis was undefeated, right?
Progress was undefeated. Progress was undefeated, and that's how many belts? How many belts did they have right there in between them?
Well, there was all together. The fourth one was Hooker, right? Maurice Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Hooker fought Ramirez for unification, and there was unification on the other side too. I think Taylor
Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
Prograis.
yeah, it's still impressive in regards because this is not like I'm gonna fight one guy who's unified and take a couple bouts. No, this is I'm going house to house, door to door, going to your undefeated bout and taking your bout from you undefeated, one at a time. This is
Exactly, dude.
this is
Within
great.
within within like 12 actual months, he's fighting
Uh-huh.
three undefeated defending champions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And belting it up undisputed and taking each bout as it is. You're stealing it from undefeated. You're stealing it from number ones. Um, you can't think about that in any other weight class.
Well, dude, I'll tell you this, dude, and I don't care what anybody says, dude. When I heard that Canelo was going to 168 to fight Fielding, I already ranked him number one in the division, in my opinion. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if the best pound for pound fighter parks in your division, and he's a guy who can actually kick some ass too. Like, I mean, if these other guys haven't really fought anybody either, then to me it's just natural to put him like at a very high level. Like to me, he was already ranked number one when he fought Fielding. Now it's just everything's just being proven. But to me, skill wise, he's the number one. Like you have to. There's nobody that would be favored against Canelo.
This is revisionist history in a sense, but I'm gonna ask you your feelings about this because I had this feeling when Kovalev versus Canelo was cracking off. I literally thought Canelo was gonna take an L. I didn't even want to pay attention. I was like, well, he's over there fucking doing some crazy shit. I'll just wait till he comes back and fights fights guys in the lower division because he's cracking off some shit. Kovalev is real. I saw what he did to Anthony Yard. Um, I was like, it's like I'm just assuming he's taking an L, bro. Like I wasn't like out here like team fucking Canelo all day. I literally respected Kovalev like that. And basically as the fight was leading on, I was thinking, well, shit, Kovalev might get him. Kovalev might get him, right? I was thinking shit. And then the calmness of Canelo to take him out, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie, like I was surprised he did that at 175. And now it sounds revisionist to history. You hear a lot of haters on there saying, "Oh, he fucking knocked out a washed up fucking Kovalev." Yeah, you didn't see what he did to fucking Anthony Yarde in Russia with the stiff ass jab. To me, I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Dude, I mean
At the time.
dude, that's a great point. Like, dude, I remember when they were first talking about this fight,
Mm-hmm.
people kind of said, "What?" Because, like, dude,
Yup.
to jump up 2 weight classes is actually hard to do. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's like, "What?" And then, like you said, Kovalev became a bona fide washed up dude. But by the time they fought, but my thing was like, dude, if you think about it, like Kovalev was still a legitimate defending champion.
Yup.
He took a loss and then he came back and then he
Uh-huh.
fought Yarde. He was the legitimate defending champion. And everybody's like, oh, well, you know, Bivol and Butterbeef would have been maybe a better. But I'm like, who have those guys really beaten? Like, Kovalev has always been a defending champion, like, since these guys have been doing their thing. So, I don't know. To me, I thought it was a very good fight. And actually, dude, some people did pick Kovalev. You know, D-Style and G-Funky, they both picked Kovalev to win.
See, I wasn't around. I wasn't around the YouTube community then, but I you know what I was picking? I was like, fuck it. I was already assuming like this is a fucking never. It's one of those things where you just go in there, not hoping for. You're not saying Team Canelo, all this shit. I was just like, all right, Kovalev's gonna beat him, but let me see how this works out. That's the way I was. I was realistic. And I don't think people can go back to that mental state or that time because now there's a lot of propaganda about Kovalev and it's a shitty win and all this shit. When literally during the fight, I was like, fucking Kovalev. When the fight was announced and even up to the week, I was like, I think Canelo's fucking bit off too much.
Yeah, dude. You know, I went and saw that fight live, bro. Went to Vegas and I had some good seats, dude. Treated myself.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And how was the crowd? Was the crowd expecting Canelo to win? Was it just on some pro Canelo shit or what?
Dude, for real? Like, dude, I think the crowd was really deflated. If you listen, like, there's really not much energy. And I think it just had to do with the waiting, bro. Like, okay, so all of a sudden, you know, we see Ryan Garcia fight. Boom, it's a 1-rounder. So then they have to kill time up to when Canelo's supposed to fight. So they have all that time go by. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we have to wait till this UFC pay-per-view is over with, right? They actually showed us the UFC fight in the MGM, right? So it just like the steam was taken out of us. So like we're all rooting for Canelo, but I think we were a little restless as a crowd. I mean, people were doing whatever they wanted to do, but I say overall, energy wise, like I've never been in such kind of like a fatigued audience before for boxing.
Bro, I thought the crowd was saying it's already over. I thought they were feeling antsy because as the rounds as the rounds were accumulating, it seemed like the fan base was nervous that Kovalev might pull it out.
No, I think there's good reason, but I think that as you watch it, like, you know, especially like if you watch it again, like I think it was a draw going into the 11th, and Canelo was gonna clearly win the next 2 rounds. Like Canelo, like you said, he was poised, but he also turned it on, and you can also see that Canelo was setting up Kovalev. I think people, you know, if you appreciate the sweet science, you should be able to try to recognize that Canelo did set him up. He was setting him up the whole time. He caught him, and then he did not allow Kovalev to take a break on him, and had his hands where Kovalev was used to everything being fine, but then he just took advantage and fucking just knocked his ass out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he quieted the crowd immediately. Like I was there, but you can also see it a few seconds later. But like the first thing he did was quiet the crowd. So to me, it wasn't like this, oh my God, come from behind miracle. And I think it was just a very calculated thing. I think Canelo took him into the later rounds and then executed him.
He felt it though. He felt what the crowd was thinking, brother. That's why he did that, right? And I think that's what a lot of audience was thinking. They weren't sure that he'd be able to turn it up, as even Brian Canny said, right?
Yeah, man. Like it was slightly nerve wracking. It was a good. I always said that's why I went to that one in particular, because I actually told people like I actually think this is a good fight. Like I respected the opponent. Kovalev's a future Hall of Famer. Very good, you know, fighter.
I respect him, brother. Like I don't see where all this hate is. Kovalev. If you think you could beat Kovalev, how about Charlo? You fight Kovalev and go knock him out. Go do that. How about you try doing that? I don't care right now if he's drunk or whatever. Go try doing that. I bet you won't try.
That's what I'm saying, man. So I mean, like, you know, people love to nitpick Canelo's resume, but it's like, dude, you already know. It's just, you know what? As we get into, you know, you were talking about the positive mind, right? A couple weeks ago, like, dude, I think I'm just gonna start absorbing just positive stuff, because you could go and find people who want to nitpick and hate, but it's just like, it gets old after a while, especially because they're not actually really making a point. Like if you were to actually discuss this stuff with them, you would realize that they don't have anything to stand on, really.
They don't. They don't. They don't. It's the only thing, when the person is totally cooked. And this is with any fighter, right? That's has weird like hate issues, that they have hate issues towards them. The fan is cooked when the opposing thought is cooked when they start saying clenbuterol PDs. Like I said, that's why I got frustrated with earlier when I brought up the fact that these journalists like Brian Custer from the Custer podcast, he felt the need to talk about clenbuterol. That's all, as he was appeasing, to me that was an appeasing a certain small segment of the boxing fan base.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll see what happens, bro. Like all this stuff is just hopefully it just passes through. Like you said, I'm ready for this fight to happen, to enjoy it, and then in the offseason, see if anybody makes other moves, and we can start talking about what Canelo's going to do next. Which he's got some options, and they're all good ones.
All good ones, all good ones. But the main thing I think a lot of people are gonna want to see, right, is there's always gonna be this controversy with David Benavidez, right? And again, I think it might still happen because I don't see, like, if I'm Canelo, right, I got all the belts. Why do I want to sit here and defend the WBC belt? I'm out of here. I might as well do 175, and that's it. I hate to say it. It's better Biev or somebody else. Um, after Caleb Canelo versus Bennett, I would like to see. You know what? I'll say something else. Dickie Guns. I'll say Dickie Two Guns. I'll say something else. Why not give depending how Caleb Plant looks, why not give David Benavidez the opportunity to put pause on Caleb Plant after if what I'm already saying is a loss. That makes sense for PBC, especially if they can't get Canelo back on there.
Dude,
You know what I'm saying?
well, why not, dude? Like, none of these other guys do any good work in the meantime. It's just
Mhm.
Canelo that goes and fights the best of that division and then works his way down until he's done. But this time he's going all the way down with all the belt owners. Like you said, he could go to Benavidez, but he could do a lot of things, bro. Like, and at this point, dude, it's like none of these dudes are standouts. Like in my opinion, like if
He's
somebody
doing them
was,
favors. He's
that's
doing
what
them favors.
exactly, bro. He's doing a favor. So like as far as I'm concerned, Canelo can do whatever the hell he wants. Because dude, in this year that he's done, like he will already be bringing an even bigger legacy to the next fighter he fights. Like, and it's
Mhm.
all off the bat. Like it would be a huge win for any one of these guys. Their biggest win, without a doubt. It would be like a historic win. Uh, I don't know. These guys, there's a reason Canelo's like dominating right now. Like these guys are not all that great.
After he gets these belts, I'm cutting this era off. Meaning, once he gets these belts, I'm cutting this off era in my brain. Like it's Canelo. I'm saying everything from here is older Canelo because this is some fucking for. This is a year that this shit is crazy. The fact that I've never seen nobody at this age, none of the champions, none of the guys who've been the face of boxing, we can say that for a fact. We'll say the recent faces of boxing have been what Mayweather, De La Hoya, Mike Tyson, and go back another. Who's before Mike Tyson in your opinion?
As far as like what cash cows.
Yeah, just face of boxing. We could throw in Julio Cesar Chavez in there somehow, but what I'm saying is like the main guy, right? So I would say we'll go back in this order, right? We'll say Canelo now. We'll say Mayweather. I'm not gonna put Pacquiao in there because he was always teetering on being the top, but Mayweather was the guy. And from Mayweather it went to De La Hoya, right? And from De La Hoya, I mean, we could have seen Chavez, but he was almost teetering, and obviously he didn't have that some of the English. So I'll put Tyson in that era as the main guy. Um, and before that, I can't tell you. I mean, it's what it is. It's one of the modern eras. But basically, it's what I'm saying. Like, none of these guys that I mentioned were the face of boxing. They never did this at this age, 31, when they went on a fucking four fight rampage.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like if you just isolated even what Canelo's done just
Mm-hmm.
recently, it's impressive. But what he's done starting at 22 is impressive. Like he's very accomplished, and that's why I say, dude, we can. Oh, you don't like what Canelo's doing? Like who are we comparing him to? How do you measure anything unless you compare it to something?
Mm-hmm.
If
But we
you're
can compare it
great,
to
if you're
Mayweather.
grading, what's that?
We can compare it to Mayweather. I think Mayweather, what he did is he retired he basically beat De La Hoya. He fought one time De La Hoya, and then he retired for like 2 years.
Yeah, dude, and you know what? He retired at a time where there was some heat there, dude. Like Margarito, Paul Williams. Paul Williams was like somehow at 147, dude. And yeah, I mean, there was no rush to fight Paul Williams for Floyd Mayweather.
No,
I'll tell you that much.
yup, You're facts, brother. Facts. A lot of people don't remember Paul Williams. Paul Williams is an animal. Obviously now he's wheelchair bound, but and obviously people saw what Maravilla did to him, but that was an anomaly. That had never happened to Paul Williams, and Maravilla was a power puncher, man. No one
Right, and that was at middleweight.
Yeah. So Dickie Two Guns is saying Jamal Charlo versus Canelo would be an interesting fight. Jamal Charlo, yeah, I would like seeing that fight. It's just out of interest. Um, the thing is like I was saying to Dickie Two Guns, I'm saying this. I don't know who's doing the favor because it's not like I don't think Canelo is gonna get a belt if he's beating Charlo, right? Because obviously Charlo would probably be coming up. I don't think Canelo's gonna say I'm going down to 160. And Dickie Two Guns also says De La Hoya was the face of boxing back then and brought women. Yeah, that's a facts. That's a facts. De La Hoya is a special guy, man. Special talent, special figure in the world of boxing. I guess right now he's kind of a joke in a sense, but it's what it is. We got to respect him. That the face of boxing at that era was crazy. The mania was crazy for De La Hoya, man. Um, and he has tentacles everywhere, like we constantly say. I mean, Mayweather is his offsprings. Mayweather, Canelo, Deontay Wilder, the Charlos, all these guys are basically De La Hoya people.
Yeah, man, definitely some torch bearing going on, and dude, there's not very many stars anymore, bro. Like, and that's the other thing, dude. Like, I think that the sport benefits from having Canelo be so dominant because he's very not like notable. Like, I ask a lot of my casual friends, like, they don't know who the hell these like Charlos are, what the Plants are. They don't even really know who David Benavidez is. Like, they know Canelo.
Yeah, and we just tried coming up. Dickie Two Guns, you put right there in the chat. Who's the guy who's gonna get the next torch? Who's the guy who can pull what Canelo's doing? I can't think of one, man. I don't see anybody proven. Like already at this time, Canelo was already doing something where even Mayweather himself said, "This guy's." Remember what Mayweather said before he fought him and after he fought Canelo? He said, "This guy's the next guy."
Right, and I think he meant it, and
Yeah,
dude, Canelo's legacy's tied with Mayweather's, and Mayweather's legacy continues to grow every time Canelo goes on to do greater things. But it was a loss when Canelo, it was early in his career. Although I understand that Mayweather was 36, so that's kind of fair too in that sense, But there was a catch weight, and I think it should always be noted, bro. Like, okay, to me, dude, everybody's so eager to bring up Canelo's sins. You know what I'm saying about like what they think is favorable scoring. Oh, and that reminds me, what Rapid, I wanted to tell you. I went back and I listened to one of our conversations, and I had told you that I thought Laura won. I misspoke. I actually had Canelo winning that fight, and I wanted to clear that up with you.
Yeah, I remember you told me that, but I when you told me that you weren't told you said it was almost like a tie, right? So I could see it like that. You said it was pretty close, right?
Yeah, but ultimately I had Canelo winning. But we're gonna do a rescore of these fights here coming up. For my next show, dude, we're doing a Canelo versus Trout because some people actually think Trout won that fight and Canelo and it was robbed against Canelo. But we're gonna straighten that one out.
Yeah, you know what though about that of those fights, if you're sitting there hating Canelo, yeah, you might have right. If you're sitting here just like waiting on if you're sitting there waiting on every Trout punch to like be like 10 points for you, of course you're gonna have Trout. That's another thing about this like whole phenomenon, right? There's a phenomenon of a guy who's already biased hating Canelo is gonna score every punch that lands as 20 punches.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, dude. These guys are so blind. It's like that. That's the thing. Like, if you're objective, if you don't respect Canelo by now, well, then I don't think you are. Objectively, you'd have to respect what he's doing, unless you think everybody else is trash. Like how could you be a Spence fan when the dude only has he's been at welterweight his entire career? He's older than Canelo, and he's only ever had 2 belts. Canelo had 2 belts at middleweight, and he's had 2 belts at super middleweight. And 2 belts at 154.
Bro, you know what? It took me a while to even realize that Spence was old. It took me a while to realize that Crawford was old. I literally never thought nothing about it. Like, until I found out. Until I found out, I was like, I was just assuming that Spence was like 26. I was assuming Crawford, and this is what before he was fighting like Mikey Garcia. I was like, well, this guy's like 27 or something like that, right? Not thinking anything of anything, right? Obviously realizing I'd seen him, right? But you know how it is. We see prospects and shit when they're 20 years old. So if you've seen him for 7 years, you just assume, well, yeah, he must have been. When I saw him like in these interviews, he was probably like 19 or 20. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing that the man was doing interviews when you first caught light of him when he was like 25, 26 and shit, right? It's crazy, brother. You're right, dude. It's just the magnitude of people don't realize, man. To be a super fighter, to be one of these like magnanimous fighters, like I said, we just mentioned De La Hoya, Mayweather, Canelo, even Mike Tyson. You better be out there at 20 years old. Mike Tyson, heavyweight champion, early in the 20s. De La Hoya, golden boy, right? Canelo, like we know, young. So none of these guys are gonna be anything if you start doing it at 27, 28, man. That's another thing you can put in the metrics and shit, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like now we actually have in real time, like, you're around our age or old enough to remember Canelo's era. Well, Canelo's still 31. So it's kind of like, okay, well, why don't you, who are we comparing him to? We could compare his progress to what the young guns are doing right now. And it holds up pretty well historically. Like if everybody had a run like Canelo, we would be seeing all kinds of great fights because everybody would be fighting the best in their division. Everybody would be unifying at least a little bit. Like overall, boxing, the product would improve if they kept on Canelo's pace, not the other way around, you know?
You know who was on track? You know who was actually on track? It's just the weight. The weight was something. The weight was something. Also, obviously, personal problems is what affected the whole thing. But he was on track doing the same thing, almost just getting the clout and also being a champion. You're gonna think it's funny. You're gonna think like, wow, it's weird, right? Actually, David Benavidez was because he was a champion like at 21, right? WBC champion. And he had a lot of like buzz, right, for his fights, right. He was doing exciting, and we know that you can transform, right. But he's getting caught in a position where the main guy that's stopping and impeding all of his shit is Canelo. Like unless Canelo leaves, like I just got Canelo beating him, brother. It's just experience, and also David Benavidez might switch up styles because he's still a young guy. He might switch up styles in the future, but it's going to be a little too late, right? Because they really want that fight. And if Canelo gives it to him, I see him doing him dirty at this point because age matters, experience matters.
Yeah, man. I think Canelo would walk him down. I think Benavidez isn't going to nearly be able to swing as much as he likes because that's the other thing, dude. I think sometimes people forget that Canelo is the natural counter puncher, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and Benavidez has never been hit like that before. And he's got a wide frame. I'm also curious, like, as to how he does as far as making weight goes, like, and how long he can keep that weight. Like, he's actually a big dude, and so it's like it's amazing he can get down to that weight. Also, his level of competition hasn't really been there. Like, even the Uzcategui fight wasn't all that great, bro. Like, if you watch what he did after, I think he took a loss, like a KO loss after that, and then he fought he's got like 4 wins since then or something. They're just like off of tomato cans, bro. Like nobody's. So he's kind of washed up, dude. So I mean, it's not like he's been doing anything, and it's a good fight.
You know who rained on David Benavidez' parade? Canelo, because all the guys that would be his competition, Canelo said, "I'm coming in here and taking them all." And it's PBC's fault. PBC's fault for not being proactive and making those fights ahead of Canelo doing any type of stunting, right? Instead, they just let David Benavidez be the WBC champion and just failed to unify anything, right? Um, Ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. So I said the cards take your promoter is a lot too, man, because sometimes they can't see the vision, right? But now, like I said, Dave Benavidez is stuck in a division where the man is you got the number 1 pound for pound fighter. Any other time in history, you might run and unify and all this shit, right? But you're stuck in an era where the guys like you got the monster in your division, and it's crazy. And like you said, right, the weight is an issue too. Like I don't even think David Benavidez should stay at 168 at this point. It should be 175. He just looks he looks like a sergeant put it in one of these comments one time. Did a video on David Benavidez. Says he has an odd looking body. I said, yeah, it kind of looks like a kangaroo.
Yes, he does. I know what you guys mean.
So it's just circumstance, luck, and also like I would have chosen David Benavidez as maybe the future, but obviously it's not what it is. When you got Canelo there, it's what it is, man. But I can't think of anybody. And I ask everybody in the chat, you guys tell me who's the future, who can carry this torch, who's doing the same thing. I'm having trouble with it.
We'll see, man. I hate being the cranky old guy, but I'm telling you, there was a better era previously. Like, I don't want to be a snob because I love this, but I love boxing, man. But yeah, dude, I'd like to see more quality opponents facing each other more often. Like you said, we didn't see Benavidez versus Plant, and we should have seen it by now already. And also, we didn't see Billy Joe Saunders versus Callum Smith. Like these guys didn't do anything towards each other. It's not like a lot of these the champions were defending for a little while at least, you know. So Canelo is the only one who goes in there and actually takes care of any good work.
Mm-hmm. They were happy. They were happy with staying stagnant. They were happy. Well, think about this. We'll go in on somebody else who's all time great, right? I don't remember the politics of the day, but we'll know this, right? Like, how come the man, son of God, Andre Ward, how come he never did anything to try getting all the belts together?
Like he was never undisputed. I mean, that's the thing. Like it's only in this era, and I think it's just like online snobs, you know. To me, bro, I've always said like to me, lineal and ring is fine. Like there's always gonna be a next guy to see. Like just because you have all four belts doesn't really make you the man. If there's an active lineal champion in your
Uh-huh.
weight division, then to me he's the champion.
Uh-huh. Facts. Um, it's just boxing. This boxing shit is full of politics now, right? No, but now it's amplified with the internet. The internet, like back in the day, obviously Ring Magazine was everything. Like they told you, if Ring Magazine told you the guy was the Ring Magazine champ, you're like, this is the Ring Magazine champ right now. People don't give a rat's ass. Now everybody has their own champ, and I don't blame them because these guys aren't fighting each other, right? My favorite fighter can be the champion because guess what? He's never gonna fight your guy, so I could say whatever I want. I could say whatever the hell I damn want, please. If I'm that's why I said fuck it. Jaime Munguia to me is the best 160 pounder. Why? Because you're never gonna fight. Your guy's never gonna fight my guy, so fuck you. And I'll just say he's the best.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You know, so like that's why I tell people too, like all these confident plant people. You know, I'm like, well, just wait, dude. We're gonna see here in a week. You know, like watch
And
the
yeah,
fight, man. You know, you don't need me to tell you.
yeah, there it is. Basically, the proof is in the pudding with what Canelo's doing, and it's facts. You're saying it right there, and he's proving it, right? But every other weight division, like they can say whatever they want. I could say whatever I want. If I have an undefeated fighter, I could say he's the best because guess what? You're never gonna fight. And why am I just gonna say you're right and I'm wrong? We're never gonna see him fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at Tank. Like,
Mhm.
where's he the best at exactly? Like, that's the thing. Like, this guy can float around. How come
Yeah,
we
he's
haven't
the
seen him
best.
take on a top fighter in a weight class?
He's the best because they say he's the best and he's undefeated. So you can't prove him wrong because he's undefeated. That's what they say, right? That's why I say like, well, fuck it, we're gonna roll that. Then I'll say whatever the fuck I want. My favorite fighter is as long as I'm undefeated and in your weight class. Then fuck it. How are you gonna dispute me if you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, right? Um.
Exactly, dude.
Mhm. And it's sad though, right? It's sad though, but I mean that's what it's gotten to, right? Like it took a lot for the propaganda and Charlo and shit like that, right? Again, I like the Charlos. I like their fighting style, but it took a lot from the fans to accept that Charlo didn't want to fight Canelo, or that basically one of the Charlos exposed that they really didn't want to fight Canelo, right? Took them literally people like admitting shit, or else they would have ran with this shit till fucking the deathbed.
Oh yeah, dude. On HCP, we had the matchmaker for Golden Boy on, and I asked him through like a super chat question. I said, "Hey, can you confirm that, you know, I think it was like in May of 2019, did you guys make an offer to Jamal Charlo?" And he said, "Yes, we did. You know, we offered him a good offer, but the answer coming back was like, we're worlds apart on price split, you know." So I think they wanted too much for Charlo. I think they offered him like 10 million or something or some crazy shit like that, and they
Fucking
turned it
crazy,
down.
bro. I didn't know that, brother. Thank you for dropping that. I didn't know they offered you 10 million.
Well,
This is fucking crazy.
that's what there's the rumor is, but
I
Roberto
believe
Diaz
it.
did
Uh-huh.
confirm that yes, we made him an offer. And then De La Hoya's on record going like, "Oh, we made Charlo an amazing." Here's the thing, dude. Like, uh, Canelo's always kind of negotiated very quietly, so it's like, you know, to him it's not this big deal because dude, he's on a higher level, so like he doesn't have to worry about like, you know, putting it out there in the papers that, oh my gosh, Charlo said no. Like he just moves on to the next guy. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and that's why the whole Caleb Plant. That's another thing. That's why I'm looking forward to Caleb Plant getting beat because that whole thing was weird, right? Like they're literally like Caleb Plant was coming out making excuses about negotiations and shit. Like it never seemed reasonable. Obviously, he knew another thing. Caleb Plant's not stupid. He knows that he literally has a myriad of trolls on the internet, and we all know who they are, who are gonna back any fucking little thing that he says. So he can like say some shit and he'll get like fucking a ground wall of support from the same group of people that were boosting certain fighters like Deontay Wilder.
Oh,
And you're gonna
exactly,
feel
dude.
yeah, every time he logs on the internet, whatever he says, he's like, oh shit, look at I got a whole fucking like group of people. So what I'm saying is real. That's why I brought up the fact like, well, fuck it. If we're playing that game, then I guess I'll start going with all my undefeated fighters that might not have the resume, but fuck it, we're playing that game. Let's roll with it then. I'm just gonna say my guy is better than your guy. And this is the same shit they're doing with Tank Davis. You said it right on point, brother. Tank Davis, literally, like the resume is insane. But you got guys over here. You got guys, even mainstream guys, putting Tank as a top pound for pound guy. Even well, I'll just say another guy, right? Boots Ennis. He beats a 5 loss guy, and all of a sudden he's fucking captain. Send him to Spence. Captain, send him to Spence. Captain, send him to Crawford. Captain, he's the next guy. Captain, he's gonna knock everybody out, and he just beat a 5 loss guy. Virgil Ortiz beats a guy, Maurice Hooker, who's dangerous. What do they say? He needs to fight another guy, tougher competition. I didn't hear no one saying fight a champion. Virgil Ortiz then goes and beats Cav Velasquez. And matter of fact, I still heard someone say he needs to fight another guy before he fights Crawford. But Boots beat a 5 loss guy. You're captain everything and send him to the top.
Yeah, dude, I hear people talking about how they think he can get in there with Spence and Crawford. I'm like, man, I mean, we haven't nearly seen enough to be able to say something like that. He's not done anything to even earn those fights, to be honest. Although, I mean, these guys could stand to get a little bit more busy. Like, I think that Virgil Ortiz is a legitimate, like, I'd have to think about it, but like easily a top 6 welterweight. And I mean, Ennis, you never know. Like, within a few fights, he might be there. Like, I don't think welterweight's all that deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it isn't. But like I said, I'm not saying Ennis. We can see, like, we have brain cells and shit. You and I, most of us have brain cells, and we see that Ennis is a talent, and we see that Tank is a talent, right? We see he has knockout power, right? But realistically, they're not being fair in regards to like Tank. What has he done? Why are you telling him pound for pound when he's beating up guys that realistically aren't on the same level with other guys? And the same thing with Boots Ennis. I see his talent, but for me to rectify that talent, I need to see him fight Mean Machine. Let me see what you can do, the Mean Machine, Boots. Let me see what you can. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. And the only guys who get, and I'm bringing it up, the only guys who get that type of what do you call it? Test by the community and the news, or the news people, or the big corporations, is Virgil Ortiz. Like I said, all I know is the week before, and you probably heard me rant on this shit, it was like Boots Ennis was fighting like Lomachenko or some shit, or like this fight, after he knocks out a 5 loss guy, he's like gonna be like on the fucking top of the pedestal. I said this: is Delarme better than Luke Campbell? No. Luke Campbell fought Lomachenko Linares and didn't look bad against him. So why are we shitting on Ryan Garcia then? Fuck it, he has the same resume as Boots Ennis. But again, that's just me.
No, I mean, totally fair points. I mean, I maintain that Ryan Garcia has a better resume than Devin Haney. That
There
Luke
it is.
Campbell fight alone proves it to
Yeah.
me.
Hey, you're on my side with that. Like I would rate Luke. And again, this is fucking controversial because people hate the motherfucker. I agree with you guys. Yeah, he's pretty damn hateable. I mean, if it's backing out of the fights, but let's keep it real. Luke Campbell, to me, is better than fucking Linares.
Oh, totally agreed. I mean, so I mean, great way to put it in perspective. But that's the thing, bro. Like, you can't let this stuff drive you nuts, because like these guys just aren't consistent, anyways. Like, they don't care.
You
like,
told me that.
They don't
You
care,
told
bro.
me that, Chicano Prophet. You told me that, brother. You told me that. Remember, you told me. You said literally. I'm hearing some guys talk about like You're the first one that told me that, brother. I think it was first time you jumped on the panel, and I was like, man, this guy's Chicano Prophets is 100% right. These guys are loony. They're literally still going with this Charlo shit, and the guy's brothers literally said that this shit is not real. That he can't fight with them. And here, all these guys are in denial, and they're still saying this shit. Like, literally, you can't say nothing to them, right? It's hilarious. You're the first one to tell me that.
Yeah, bro. And then they'll go around and dictate, what needs to happen next. But they have all the understanding in the world when their fighters don't take on the toughest fights. But all of a sudden, Shakur wins. It's like, oh, we want Valdez next. We want next.
Yeah. That's what's wild, man. That's what's wild. Exactly like that. You can go 15 fights in, and all of a sudden you're captain pound for pound, right? That's the thing, pound for pound. I heard people say Shakur's top 10 pound for pound, or future greatest of all time pound for pound. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm like, I gotta see things, man. I gotta see things work out. I don't know, man. It's just, I hope we make an impact. I hope Chicano Prophet. I hope Dickie Two Guns. I hope Sergeant. I hope everybody in this chat, even Chocolate Bacon, or everybody in here, Funker Die Boxing, David Salas. I mean, we'll get big. We get big enough that we start making an impact in regards to some of that, right? Like, I hope that happens one day, right? It's just what it is, because we see the opposite sides saying some bullshit, and somehow, gain a massive amount of traction with it.
Well, that's the thing, bro. Like I'm just realizing, like, that's where they do have a certain audience, and it's weird to think that those people actually believe it. I think part of it's hate, So I think some of it's a bit racial
It
sometimes.
is
I'm
shocking, bro.
generalizing, but I mean, it's this whole mess over there. Like those guys are delusional, man.
Mhm.
Like it is what it is. Like, these people thought that fucking, all about Glove Gate. I mean, dude, I heard these people saying that, Kovalev took a dive against Canelo. I've heard outrageous things over there. That Navarrete cheated, that he
Mhm.
took some fucking like douse on his tongue in his last fight.
Mhm.
Like they could say whatever the hell they want, and like I said, I stopped paying attention because it's also very clickbaity, and when they're saying this stuff, like they're feeding a fan base that pays them in super chats. Like it's kind of a hustle too.
That's crazy, brother. You mentioned the super chat thing. The super chat, like, fuck. If you give me $1,000 super chat, I might come up with the juicy conspiracy. Maybe that's what it takes. That fucking whole, like, put some super chats and I'll come up with some juicy ones. That's what it sounds like. I never thought about it that way. It's just some super chat conspiracies, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, people. That's how they make their money, dude. They do pretty well, these guys, especially like they prefer cash apps because apparently you get a larger percentage of what somebody pays you. But people like the super chat and it being read, but there's a reason these guys want to get monetized, especially if they
Mhm.
spend so much time doing it, dude. Like, and it can be hard, but I mean, there's a couple key factors that I've seen that can get somebody to like big numbers quickly. But I mean, one of them's already gone. Like I said, if you were a pro Pacquiao channel, you can actually get a strong base right away because the
Yeah.
Filipinos were listening, but they don't like to hate watch. So like, we listen to people that we really disagree with.
Mhm.
I think the Filipinos aren't like that. So it's like if they like you, they'll stick with you, but they don't have time. And some of
Mhm.
them probably even have limited internet. Who knows? You think they have time to listen to somebody fucking bashing on Pacquiao? No, they just want pro Pacquiao. Because that
Yeah,
might not be
man.
it might be like one of the only things they listen to, you know.
Yeah.
So just a perspective, And then also if you go at the LDBC early, I've noticed that's a terrible way. It's kind of like clout chasing, but if you attack the LDBC early, your channel will grow quickly.
Yeah, I'm not with all that attacking LDs. I'm just
Me either. Me either. I think it's sad. That should, that shows weakness.
yeah,
But then
I never
sometimes
even said
people
it.
use that and then start rolling, and then they start having their own product once they actually have their listenership, and so then they phase out of it.
Yeah, that's too easy, bro. That's too easy to do that like that. When I look at that, I'm like, that's too easy to do that. Like, I don't even know, like and monetizations and everything, right? Like the way people want to monetize their shit fast. Like, I don't give a rat's ass monetize or not. Like, I don't give a rat's ass, bro. Like, to me, I'm not trying to. I don't even care. I haven't even looked at the monetization. I don't even know that. I really don't care. I got what I got. I got a lot of followers. Put it that way, a lot of subscribers, but I don't give a fuck. I'm not here like, oh, let me monetize this shit. Nah, that's what it is, bro. Um, it's what it is. But I do see why people try monetizing their shit. They're trying to get money. They're trying to clickbait. That's why another thing that you kind of probably noticed. I go on random times where literally no one's fucking up.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, because I don't give a rat's ass. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a rat's ass about money. I don't give a rat's ass about monetization. I don't give a rat's ass about monetization or anything. But I'll tell you, I could probably monetize my shit if I want to. Like it's that. It's not like a fucking big deal.
Yeah, dude. I noticed that your shorts get a lot of views, bro.
I got views. I got a shitload of views on a lot of shit, bro. It's what it is, man. I got a lot of followers, put it that way. But like I said, I'm not monetizing my shit because I really don't give a rat's ass. Maybe in the future I'll monetize this shit, but nah, I'm just chilling out. I just like going on live whenever. I'm not trying to look at like what's this shit called? Algorithms and shit and just be trying to go on like in the uh morning or mid or not on the East Coast time, like at 3 or some shit. Like I don't do that, bro, or shit like that, bro. Like on Sundays, right? Sunday would be a great time. But maybe one day I will do it. Maybe one day I'll try like being scheduled and all this shit, bro. But so far I don't care because I like boxing. I like it as a what's this shit like a hobby. That's why I dig Chicano Prophet. This guy did Chicano Prophet. He's the same way, brother. Like I seen the video of the zone. I was like, damn, this guy, this guy, bro. And then the painting, bro. Like I'm like, bro, give me the painting, dog. Like, how much does that shit cost, bro? How much does the painting cost you, bro?
You want to know?
Yeah,
All right, it was 600.
damn, that's pretty good. That's worth it, bro. That's real good work, bro.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what, bro. I looked at a lot of artists and I saw what their strengths
Yeah.
were. I actually, and then you'd be surprised, bro. I found out that a lot of these painters, dude, they're more like tracers, But that's it's got its own art. But to be able to like paint something, that's not like off a complete picture, pretty much. Like because, dude, this is not a particular photo of anything. Like I spliced it together, adding the Aztec. Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
put together like 3-4 different things, so they don't have
Yeah.
anything specific to go off of. So it takes
Mm-hmm.
a good artist to be able to do that. Because like I
Mm-hmm.
had Canelo, I had him with more facial hair. I changed up his trunks. I put the no boxing no life on his gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think the artist did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. The specifically the beard area and the side, like it's really on point, brother. Seriously. And the fact, I don't know who came up with that with the did the artist come up with that style of having like the Aztec type shit on Canelo, like the garb?
Well, I wanted that part. It was kind of up to him a little bit. So I did leave like the feathers and just the whole overall look of the Aztec. Like I said, I kind of wanted to look like this, but like you said, man, he kind of made it 3D and ended up putting some like stuff on the garb area, like the chest area, you know. And so I just took it as artist liberty, you know what I mean? Because it's actually a really nice piece, you know. And so he did what he wanted to do with that part of it. But I really love the colors, and I also think like the headband is sick, man, and the beak is good. Like it's objectively speaking, and Canelo's face, it looks like Canelo, and it could
Yeah,
easily
bro.
not look like Canelo. I would, but I think the artist did a really good job.
Yo, Chicano Prophet, keeping it real, brother. Like I would have fucking like I don't know what the ownership is to that shit or how when you buy a painting if you own that image. But I would start selling shirts with that, bro. That's a fucking badass image, bro.
Thanks, man. That's crossed my mind, and people have suggested. Do you think I could get in some type of litigious trouble if I did?
I don't think you would, brother, because the garb around it is basically makes it to where it's not Canelo. So basically the garb around it, the whole like outfit and stuff like that. Um, the outfit around it makes it that it's you would have to just assume that without putting it, you just assume it's Canelo, right? So you don't even need to. That's another beauty about that. You don't need to put like this is Canelo or Canelo Alvarez. Literally, I could just look at the face and know that's Canelo Alvarez, and you're not gonna get no trademark because it's like how many. I'll just say this: how many bald black dudes is Michael Jordan? If I put him on a shirt, like literally, you're not gonna be able to tell, right? There's a lot of bald black dudes, right? So it's
Right.
what it is. Same thing with Canelo's face, right? Like once he's with that guard, bro, it's what it is.
Interesting, man. Well, hey, man, I'll
Yeah.
consider it because I think you're right.
Well, I'm gonna end this chat, guys, and Chicano Prophet subscribe. He's been here rocking hard. Um, we're about to end this shit, guys. And we're out. What you think, Chicano Prophet?
All right, man. Hey, peace, dude. Looking forward to fight week, dude, and I'll catch you later, man.
Guys, we're out, guys.
Peace.